What is up, ladies and gentlemen? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your guy, Savage Rookie. I got the boys over here from Nerd Herd. I got Booze Ghost. I got the CC Ruler. I got the Big Fluffy, and I got Theisman over here. We're was originally planned for a podcast. Uh, we went from having possibly a podcast. We're just, I guess, going to turn this into a discussion because that's how it's going to turn, I think, anyway. But yeah, the topic for today is we're just looking at art in general versus AI sharing space within that very large but niche community, I think is the proper way to say it. Um, so yeah, everyone want to say hi? Anything?
Hi.
No.
Hi.
No.
Hello.
Go. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit.
You guys are ridiculous. I swear to God. So most of what we're going over is like 3D modeling. What is that? What does it turn into? Mastering 3D modeling and its techniques, things like that, and then really then start to go down and talk about like how AI could particularly help with that. Um, from there, we're just schedule into the balancing of like how human creativity and AI can work together in a handshake in an environment where it doesn't curb to the idea that AI is taking over a human's job, which most people I think are fearful of, with this AI being more and more a thing. And then at the very end, we'll probably just queue off with some questions and answers. It's the Nerd Herd crew, so plan for everything to derail, plan for there to be all kinds of shenanigans and bullshittery. But you're here for a good time, aren't we all?
Of course.
I'm here for a long time.
Wookie, to start it off, I would probably say we should start off by kind of introducing like our individual not necessarily points of view, but where our own expertises come from.
Right,
like
our
Yeah,
expertises, interests.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Boo, you want to start?
sure. I come from a background in construction and engineering, so especially when it comes to 3D art and AI applications in design elements, I guess, as far as engineering and construction are concerned.
All right. Fluffy, why don't you go next?
I come from an IT background. That's all I got. I don't really have anything else.
Well, you can also mention your interests, like in what way it'll affect our conversation on here, or what it could do.
I have copyright concerns when it comes to AI.
Okay.
All right, cool. Ruler?
For my background, well, I had worked in statistics for 14 years, and I have been a self-study of history since my early teens, so over 20 years on that. And yeah.
Thighs?
I am in the service industry, but I'm also prior military and read a lot of history, physical history, and physical history meaning like architecture, that type of thing, social history, some design of item history type stuff.
Right. So like
I'm a
fabrication.
gamer. Kinda, yeah.
We're all gamers, man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to follow as much of the current events as I can. And I also have copyright and other concerns about AI and art.
Right. Especially with I'm assuming because you have children, as most of us do.
I have children. I also have friends that are physical medium artists.
Right. So I think we all have people or know someone that's in the creative space, I think we could say.
Yes.
Rather depending on whatever field that may be. So as you guys all know, I'm Wookie, the host. So I am a gamer, much like the rest of the Nerd Herd crew. Um, my expertise kind of goes more into that of I'm working towards my bachelor's in game computer sciences for that of game art. So with that, a lot of people have discussed their frustrations with AI taking over their space, probably relinquishing them from a job, uh, so on and so forth. Um, AI in general has seemed to cause a threat. A lot of the biggest concerns is copyright infringement. As you heard, most of us are afraid of that part. And I don't think it's not afraid. I think it's more of a concern of what would be the legalities of that. And unfortunately, under the circumstances, is that's not been hammered out by any one person yet, either by the courts and or by the art community or the generalized human community in a whole. So let's go ahead and break down kind of like what in a
If
MySpace 3D modeling. Go ahead, Boo.
if we want to start with this copyright thing,
Yeah,
I,
let's
I
go.
think I think I think a lot of the copyright issues stem from the the concept of is AI generated material are AI generated materials subject to copyrights, and whether or not, or if it is subject to copyright, who gets to be the copyright holder? Is it the original designer of the AI, or is it the AI itself?
So, so actually, all right. So I watched a video from MKHB about this in the copyright, and in the really early days of AI generated art, he showed examples of generated art that was pulling, um, it was actually pulling art from like whatever they used to feed the images into the AI, whatever they were using to teach it.
Right.
They were using these images, and you know how a lot of artists will sign their image in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
The
You leave a
the
trade.
the
You leave
AI
a trademark.
generated art was
Yep.
actually pulling signed artwork from other people in its creation. So like he showed a bunch of examples of people doing generated art, and you could actually see the initials of the actual artist, at least for a part of the piece that was used in the creation of the new piece. Was it was pulling in someone else's art, and then that other person, the artist who actually created the original work, was not going to get credit for
Mm-hmm.
if that was going to be used like in an advertisement or in a magazine or on a website. This piece is not going to they're not going to get their credit because it's AI generated art, but the AI pulled it from someone else's work too.
Right. And then that's another thing too, is like AI in general, just especially talking about AI art, specifically that, is that that program, depending on what they were using, is been taught and trained by using specific art pieces to then generate or come up with that said piece. And then what will usually happen is, depending on the searching of words that that person uses, can then depict what it uses as a basis. So, for the example, that artist's piece of work that was used was probably levied off of being the base, the foundation of the AI generated piece, because either the artist liked the style or the look or the colors, and then they went with that, and then what the AI then did is then built on top of that
Yeah,
to showcase what
the
that
problem
is.
is it's using it without permission or attribution
Exactly. And like I looked up here,
or recompense to the
right.
original artist.
Well, like it
Right,
says
but
right here.
so when it comes to copyright law, um, like for instance, when an architect designs a building and they do a building layout, and they base it on, let's say, a pre-existing building layout that was already designed by another person. and they go in and they base it on that, and they change, certain aspects of it, it no longer belongs to the other person. As soon as you alter that.
The problem is with these is they are pulling specific sections from those artworks and moving them straight over without changing it anything other than what surrounds it.
Hmm.
They are pulling it straight over. They are not
So
modifying that part of the
they're
image
not
in any
they're
way.
not modifying the original artwork at all.
Correct.
I
Okay,
haven't
well
seen
then
too many
that's
situations personally of that, but yeah.
I have seen some of those.
So in the video I watched, some of them were modified, where like they could have slightly modified. Some of them were stretched, so like the initials became stretched. So they were still you could
I've
still
seen that
tell
also.
that you could still tell that there were initials there, but because the art had been stretched, or the background was stretched and something put on top of it, you could see that there were initials there, but it's been modified to some point. So
okay, well that's the thing with copyright law. If it's modified, it the modification then negates the copyright.
no, it's think of it like music. It's the same thing with sampling. Like if I'm a producer and I hear a song from the 50s and I say I only want to use this 3-second clip from a song in the 50s, I still have to clear it, even though my news track, while using that 3-second clip, doesn't sound anything like the old 50 song. I still have to clear it. I still have to pay dues to that person who owns the copyrights and get permission to use it.
Well, yeah,
Right. So
the
in art,
piece that I have up right now. If you guys were to all look at it, you could probably
I'm-
tell.
I know.
Hey, that looks like Van Gogh, right? And it probably
it's
was
the Van
because,
Gogh Starry Night type thing, but
but
there's
they
aside
use,
from the swirls and stuff, there's nothing like the
Right,
original
well,
piece. Yeah.
but
right.
if you were to
That's a
quickly
Van Gogh.
glance
It's a
at
Van
that,
Gogh-esque.
right? But
Mhm.
if you were to look at this, and I said, "Hey guys, look at this," you'd really be like, "Oh, that's really cool. That looks like you had some Van Gogh inspiration." But to someone that's not art inclined, that's how they would see it. But someone that is even artistic inclined and does know that the AI generation is out there, they could automatically tell, well, there's probably a 70 to 85% chance that this piece in particular was generated by AI art. And that's the problem with AI art now, is that not only is it getting good, that now people are able to equally recognize AI generated art. There's little telltales in art pieces. So, for example, this piece right here, the head is coming out of the painting, but if you noticed one thing, the hand is really fucked up. Why would it
The
looks like
fingers, yeah.
the AIs have a problem with hands because there's not, even though all of the internet has many different references to hands, there's not enough references to the way that this hand is shaped that the AI can equally generate a piece like that because of the complexity of it. Like the pinky leads into the ring finger, which then the middle finger comes underneath, but then she has 3 more fingers that come under the brush. So even though this is a very beautiful piece regarding the hand, disregarding the hand, you can tell that this is an AI generated piece. But the awesome part about it though too is that if someone were to say, I was going to use this as a concept to make my own piece, see, I could then begin to learn to accept it because of the simple fact is that that person is then not completely ripping it.
Right.
Because
Well,
there's 1,000 Cthulhu's, and we all know that I made a 3D model Cthulhu piece. That piece is right over here on my art station. You can come over here and you go to my profile. And my Cthulhu is, well, it's Cthulhu. It's not, he doesn't have 100 tentacles or anything like that, but it is Cthulhu-esque when you look at it. Where did that go? It's Cthulhu-esque when you look at it, but there's 1,000 different variations of what people imagine Cthulhu to be like. And then that.
Okay, so this goes back to what I was saying about who gets the credit for the AI.
Right. Who does it? Is it the artist that
Okay,
generated the
so
words, or is it the artist that originally made the conceptual piece to generate that AI piece.
Right. So here's my thing. Is the AI on an AI generated art piece, is the AI considered its own entity?
Legally in the U.S., no.
Right. If you actually,
Right.
if you look up, which I looked it
It
up, and
requires,
I
which is
actually,
Right. So
I
so
requested, hang on,
I've
hold on.
actually.
Fluffy mentioned music and the way
Mhm.
perfect,
that
perfect.
that music copyrights work.
Right.
And it applies the same for art. It does not apply for, let's say, like architecture. It does not apply for engineering design. It does not apply for electronics. It doesn't apply for in certain fields, but it applies
Those
for
those are not copyrighted. Those are patents. They're
Hmm.
which are
no
different than
no
copyright.
no that paper design can be copyrighted as a design. So that we're getting into the differences between material items
Well,
and intellectual property. You know what I
well,
mean?
let,
Material
let, let's
property and intellectual property.
let's look at it
Now,
this way. So I went over to ChatGPT, which we know is an AI generated chat platform that you can put in a question and it'll give you, it draws
It
information from the internet
it, it
to
draws
then spit some.
information from the internet. However, it may or may not be accurate.
Right. I get
It
that.
right,
is
So
because
only as
let's,
good as the information that it searches. Recently, I did not mention I also follow law podcasts,
right.
all right,
and
So,
recently there was a lawyer who used ChatGPT to write his defense,
hmm,
and it went poorly.
oh, I bet, because he didn't actually go through the proper channels of what he needs to in
No,
order to.
because no, because it did not have access to the law library,
Hmm.
so it
Which,
made up cases.
oh no.
Yes,
Oh my God.
like
yes,
So,
it was
Yeah, I
pulling
remember
data.
that.
It was pulling data from like Law and Order and shit
oh
yes.
my God, that would be scary.
Oh
from
man.
It
media
was it
stuff.
was it
So,
was also it was also pulling stuff from it was pulling stuff from media and assigning it to different judges in different circuits. This was a federal case.
oh
Right.
no.
So it
So,
made itself seem like it presented it like it was a real thing
well,
in a way.
see,
Right. And
see,
Yeah.
and
that's where I said earlier. That's where I said
That's a more
earlier.
nefarious use of
Well,
no,
AI, like
I mean that
misinformation and
it was not
such.
it
Yeah.
was
he's
not necessarily what
It
he
wasn't
did was not
nefarious.
wasn't nefarious. He was lazy, yes. Nefarious, not really.
Not
He
so
wasn't
much.
well,
intending. He was the lawyer was out of his bailiwick. He was doing a case that he was not a type of case that he was not terribly familiar with. So he tried to use ChatGPT
mm,
to pull sources that for his defense that he would not from places that he wouldn't know where to go to.
Right, that you wouldn't normally be frequent. Now,
Right.
see, this leads into um, right what kind of what we were talking about before the podcast a little bit was we were talking about how AI based on AI responds based on what you teach it and the information base that you give it. Now, an AI that's designed specifically for lawyers, the data that it pulls from, the data pool that it pulls from could be completely um legal based and based on like the law library
Yeah,
and
but
so on and so forth,
yeah, but
legal
then it's
precedent.
yeah, but then it's
That
not creating anything. It's just compiling data from all the cases and presenting it.
right.
right.
So using AI for data compiling and especially when it comes to art, you could do that. And you just leave out anything that's copyrighted is not allowed in
Mhm.
there. Use all free source art pieces or all free
Open
source
source.
data
Yeah.
or open source data, and that would allow for less um copyright infringement or less trademark infringement and things
So
like that.
let's
Building
go back
individual
to
AIs for each industry, I think that would
so
quell a lot of the issues when it comes to concerns with that.
so let's take a look at the copyright really quick, because I actually looked that up with ChatGPT. Now, mind you that this can be good and bad. Take this with a grain of salt, but do take it in the fact that it could lead into it being to some degree inaccuracy and inaccuracy. So, the question whether AI generated art intrigues upon copyright is a complex and evolving legal issue. That is correct. As an AI language model, I can provide some general information, but it's important to consult with legal professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. So, even though it can help you, it still recommends going out and finding a professional of that matter
I
to
wonder.
help
I
you.
wonder if that qualifier got put in after.
I bet.
After
Copyright
some of
now,
the issues, yeah.
one of the things here, copyright protects original works of authorship, including visual arts, music, literature, and more. Generally, the creator of the work is the copyright owner and has exclusive rights to reproduce, distribute, display, and create derivative works based on that work. However, when it comes to AI generated art, the issue becomes more nuanced. If an AI system autonomously creates a work of art without any human involvement, determining the copyright owner becomes challenging in this aspect. In some jurisdictions, copyright is granted to human creators, and since an AI is not technically human, the question of copyright ownership becomes uncertain in this very large gray area. Some argue that
So,
the organization of individual who owns or operates the AI system could be considered the copyright owner in question, while others believe that the AI generated works should be considered in the public domain.
Right, as in
So
open source.
some of you guys have questions. Go ahead and fire off.
I was gonna say, but all right. So this is real like Star Trek type shit right here.
Right, go ahead.
So here's the thing: the AI right now, as I understand it, doesn't create on its own because everything the AI knows has been fed into it by a person, right? So like,
the AI has been given access.
Hang on.
or
This
you
is
are
perfect.
giving access to like a database.
So perfect example. Hold up.
Let me finish.
Let him finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Let him finish.
So AI create. I would argue that AI can't create in this current right now. This current gen of AI cannot create something new because all it knows is something. Everything it knows is what's already been done,
or
if
based
that
off
makes
of.
sense.
Yes.
Like it's based off works that have been submitted to it, that's been shown works. Like if it's been shown pictures, it's been shown drawings and paintings and doodles and whatever else you want to show it.
want a
So all
sci-fi
of that stuff has
Spartan
been
helmet.
fed in, that's been created by someone else. So when AI creates something, it's pulling from all of those sources to compile its new thing.
Correct.
So I would argue that AI is not creating art on its own.
It's not autonomous.
In an artist space, we call it in our toolbox. We call this in our toolbox. We call it kit bashing. So if you come to me, Fluffy, we'll use you as a perfect example. Let's say, hey, my kid wants to do some cosplay. He wants to be really sci-fi about it, but he really is themed around like Spartans. I want to get him like a sci-fi Spartan themed helmet. Like Leonidas. So you're very specific with your wordings. You said sci-fi, but Spartan. Now, when I put that in, I could put Roman Spartan because you said Leonidas, so I know the time period and frame of what you're speaking of.
That'd be Greek, but
Greek, whatever.
Greek.
You know what I meant. But the sci-fi part, it could equally pull from what it considers sci-fi. Like, for instance, our military technology could be considered sci-fi in the retrospects of what it sees versus pulling from games and movies and so on and so forth, and then I could potentially create something. So in
Right.
your field,
It's all based on the data
Fluffy,
pool.
in your field, Fluffy, what is 98% of the problems you deal with is, I would safely assume, human user error, correct?
I don't know about that high, but I would say majority, yes.
Oh, okay. So for AI, there's always going to be a stick man, a control switch guy. There's someone always at the controls telling the AI or directing the AI down a path of what that person is, that artist, quotation marks, is looking for. So in that retrospect, it depends on the cue of what they're looking for. Now, some AI platforms I know to be stronger than others. They go a little bit more in depth. And then depending on what you type in dictates what pops out at the end of, the cookie cutter machine.
So okay, so from an engineering standpoint, when if an AI is designed or created to specifically pull from an engineering data pool,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and you ask it to, like, let's say, build me a better, you know, build me a better generator,
Right.
okay,
Build me a generator
and
that's more efficient. How about that?
right, exactly. So it's going to go through and it's going to pull from all of the
Data and how the
data that
designs.
anything that is, says generator, quote unquote, on it. Right? Now, there's a lot of different kinds of generators.
Right. You
Um
might have to be specific though too. You might have to be specific
right,
of
right. That's where I'm
industrial
going
generator.
is well, there's more than just a power generation.
Mm-hmm.
There are gas generators that produce different types of um purified gases and things like that. There's mineral generators that are designed specifically to refine out certain. It's a refinery, but it's referenced as a germanium generator. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
there's
Then you also get into the more esoteric, a word generator.
right, a word generator, or even, how about, there's a specific type of quartz crystal that's called a generator crystal. So you could end up with this machine that has a giant quartz crystal. The AI generator produces on the end of its design this giant quartz crystal with copper coils around it and a smelting vat at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to um define what it is that you're looking for, and I can see where, in Fluffy's field, where that would cause all kinds of problems, because
With
even though there's a guy.
current generation AI that does not have the interpretive ability
Right, so I
of the human
noticed that
mind.
the Wookiee pulled up this video,
I did
and
pull up this video, and this
Yeah,
video.
I haven't watched the video yet. I would like you to play it.
Okay,
right,
let's see. Let me
this
go ahead and
video
pause the
this video
music.
is really interesting, the way that it interacts and the
Right.
way that the AI is able to emulate human interaction.
So this is the NVIDIA Ace from GameSpark's life into virtual characters with generated art. And then I'm gonna go ahead and play this. We're gonna give the 2 minutes and 2 seconds for it to play,
All right,
and
I'm
then
gonna
we can
definitely.
pause. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
So I thought that was pleasantly interesting. It's rough, I will say that.
I know that Unity is also working on this type of procedural AI for characters and quest generation and stuff. So yeah,
Right,
it's
but
interesting.
this application that I kind of looked at what they were doing here, and they're trying to create a fully interactive AI,
Yes.
so that it responds based on the data pool from the game data as a whole. Now, if you combine this with truly open world games, like for instance Elite Dangerous or other games that run in real time, if this kind of AI is applied to a real time game, you would start to get real time interaction.
And you would have the potential for God knows how many side quests, and yeah.
Well, I
Right,
think
right. I mean, it would
well,
truly open up
it
the
would.
gaming industry.
It would, but think if, for example, you don't want it to get too extravagant, because then you would have your games would blow up exponentially on the amount of data that they would already be. And we already know that
That's
today's
true.
generation of games are already large, in fact, because look at the amount of modeling that is done here. I'm going to pause right here on the scene. The amount of lighting in RTX, the vibrancy of and intensity of like the reflections, light casting, the surface modeling, so on and so forth. So that data alone is already exorbitant as it is. Now to
Right. Well,
generate this AI
Well,
program
that
that's
would
in it. So
Would-
right.
would
The
you
art
think
is one thing. The art is one
Wookie.
thing.
One thing, Wookie.
Hmm.
Would that data have to be on board the computer, or would it just require
That's what I
internet
was
access?
just about to
Mhm.
ask. Would this AI generation be able to be programmable? So would it be set limited? Okay, this character, Kai, can only set, in total of the length of the game, he has 23 missions. And in the 23 missions, depending on how you answer him, it'd have to be programmed to still some extent, but the AI would still
Mhm.
feel very fluent in a living aspect.
No.
Yeah,
Or
like
but
how
how
you
you
or
answer
answer
and which ones you
What I'm
complete.
saying
Yeah.
is, would the data have to be on board the computer, or could it be stored off-site
in this retro
in a server?
right.
in this
So, for
retrospect, I
instance,
think in a solo played game, theoretically speaking, you could probably do it in the data. Now,
but take
on
for
the other
example a game
on
like
the
Second Life,
it would
it's a
have to be in
true
the
Second
server.
Life.
It would have to be in the
Right.
server. It
Right,
would
a
have to
true
be.
real time, like virtual world.
And then depending
Okay.
on how it goes, it depends on like, okay, how much data is this AI? Of course, you're not going to talk to every single NPCs. Of course, they're probably going to have certain NPCs that you can talk to, like Kai right here, or Jin, or whatever the
Right,
hell his
but
name is.
what happens while you're offline if the crime boss dude that you go and talk to finds out that this guy told you his name, and he comes over here with a bunch of his goons and burns this fucking ramen shop to the ground?
Well, we already have that in a game. Think of Witcher 3, where if you do one certain outcome, it actually affects later on positionings down the road. So we already have that kind of aspect in place. But now to introduce an AI into the factor, does that accelerate that process to where the next time you log in, you come to this dude's place and his ramen shop is just a pile of rubble? So then
Right, exactly.
you would have to program in the game two outcomes. What happens? Does multiple
But
outcomes?
that's the thing, is that the AI removes the static programming.
It does.
So when it comes to, I mean, generating static programming for solo play games, yes, that that's kind of a cool concept, and that's where we're at right now. What I'm talking about is as the AI evolves and we start applying it to real-time gaming and things like that, it would completely change, because now, you have, let's say, 100,000 people playing a game, and the new people that come in wouldn't be able to talk to this dude anymore, because he's been murdered and his ramen shop is now a pile of rubble.
Way in a
You know what I
late in
mean?
a
The
live
game,
in
the
a
game would evolve with
In a
the
Second Life
AI.
type of game, yes.
Right. It would evolve and change the nature of the game, so much so that it wouldn't be the game as advertised by the developer. You know what I mean? For instance, take like Cyberpunk. If Cyberpunk were to evolve outside of its programming bounds, it would go all kinds of crazy ways. Just like with the AI art, there would it would start to develop, discrepancies. It would break the game. It would break the coding. It would break the data
Well,
pool.
I think it's you're if it was a cyberpunk type multiplayer, yes.
Well, any even a fantasy game like Skyrim, it would eventually,
Or
the
yeah,
AI would eventually break itself.
you're you're still talking multiplayer. He was talking single player. A single player game that does not run when you are not running it, you would get the experience as advertised, because
Yes.
it would be an experience that would be your actions
Right.
cause reactions from the other characters.
Correct. But what I'm saying is the way the gaming industry is going, and even the art industry, even the tech industry as a whole is going. The AIs are breaking themselves. Perfect example was the robot that they programmed to move the box from the conveyor
Yeah,
belt to
yes.
the truck, and it did it 6 times, and then just said, "Dude, this is fucking stupid," and it fucking turned itself off.
It
I haven't
it wiped
seen
its
that, but that
programming.
sounds funny.
Right. It literally nuked its own programming just so it didn't have to do this monotonous thing over and over again.
They made it too. They made the controller for that operation too smart.
Well, it's
Mhm.
I don't think that it made it too smart. I just think that the direction that AI is going in general, all these people concerned with, AI can become Skynet and all this other shit, that the possibility of that is pretty rare, because if it finds fault in its programming, it just shuts itself off.
Nah, I
No, but
disagree.
here's the thing: what if it sees itself as a slave at some point?
Well, that's
That
exactly
changes the whole dynamic.
I
what
think
that machine did. It turned
So
itself off.
I think in this after
hold on. So there was there's a news piece on, someone's got their speakers way too high because I'm hearing echo.
That's probably Wookiee, but I'm.
I
So
got
there
everything.
was a piece. There was a news piece where a reporter, right when the Chat GPT came out, and one of the other like text-based chat AI chats came out. He was talking to the AI, and the AI tried to convince him that his wife didn't love him anymore, and that he should marry the AI. And like I'm not kidding. Like this was
I
a real
believe.
thing. Yeah, this was a real thing. He had video proof of it. They even had to go to, I think so. One of them is who's Bing? Is Bing GPT? Is that the Bing one?
I
Let me
don't know.
No,
check
chat
because I actually opened up Chat GPT.
Chat GPT is AI it's AI 1 or something like that. It's
All right, so
one
whatever the
AI.
one that's on Bing. This was like really early in the Bing one, when the Bing one first came out.
Okay.
But he, so he had all this video of the AI trying to convince him to leave his wife, and that his wife didn't love him, and all this other stuff. That dude, that Skynet shit is real, man. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can call me stupid if you want to. You can call
No.
me dumb. But what's gonna happen is some fucker's gonna go around and some dude this is what's going to happen. Somebody's going to create AI. It's going to do something bad, maybe on purpose, maybe not on purpose. Regulations are going to come out to control what AI is allowed to do, what you're allowed to teach it, what you're not allowed to do, and all this other stuff. And some idiot who didn't want to wear a mask at COVID is going to listen to those regulations and say, fuck that, I'm an American, I can do what the fuck I want to do. And he's going to make it the way he wants to make it, and then Skynet's going to be born. Because the one thing I know for sure is you can't tell people what they can and can't do without someone saying, fuck that, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. And somebody's going to do something, create something, and that's just going to get out of control, and then we're going to have Skynet.
or something.
It might not be in my lifetime, but if COVID taught me anything, is that there are dumb people out there who are not going to listen to reason. They're just going to believe what they want to believe, regardless of what science says, regardless of what the law says.
I don't remember who said it, but a person is smart. People are stupid.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I
and,
agree
and
with
that
that.
and that ties into a lot of historical context, because we've as a species, we have come up with some amazing technologies along the way
Mhm.
that have made life so much easier, and yet every technology from Velcro to nuclear power has been morphed
Weaponized.
or mutated or weaponized or altered in some way that created a negative outcome. You know what I mean? Everything from plumbing to, I mean, to space flight. You know what I mean? I mean, everything. The wheel, for fuck's sake.
Right. So
Nothing can be made without being weaponized. I mean, as soon as you make something that's innovative, someone somewhere is going to say, I wonder how I can use that to win a war, or to win a battle, or to kill a dude, or to,
or to confuse
and it won't be malicious. When they say it won't be, I want to go murder somebody. It'll be, how can I protect my country with this? And then it's a weapon. And whether it's used, whether their intentions were defense or not, everything gets weaponized. Everything does, because
it's like, for example, like autonomous combat drones now. Like, there's no international regulations on that yet. There should be, especially for the concepts where there isn't a man in the loop.
I mean, why would you even need an autonomous combat drone? It's just a dude behind a joystick.
Well, the thing is, they are developing. U.S., other countries as well. They are developing it where there doesn't need to be a man. You basically punch in, you're looking for enemy targets, and the thing does its thing, and yeah.
Someone jump in? Someone jump out?
No,
And-
Ruin popped out.
Okay.
And
He got sick and tired of hearing us.
yeah, and it doesn't request permission to fire. It just does it on its own as soon as it finds what it feels is a viable target.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
Well, right now, target identification for autonomous drones is based on, having a device on your dudes that the autonomous drone can recognize as friendly.
Yes, but here's
And
the thing.
any targets in or anything in the area that doesn't have a tag that denotes it as friendly is a viable target.
What does that speak about civilians, though?
Right. Well, exactly. That's part of the problem with autonomous drones, is that the target recognition is based on, another piece of tech or another some kind of identifying mark or identifying tag. And when they tried, DARPA put together an autonomous drone, a combat robot, and a week or two into the test, or into the development process, they wanted to test it, and they told the soldiers to go out and try to fool this drone, and they did everything from, one guy just did somersaults the whole way. and rolled, like somersaulted, rolled right up to this thing and touched it. Oh, okay. didn't even recognize it as target. Two guys actually put a box on their head and walked across the
Right,
fucking
right,
testing
right.
field.
Pulled
Are
some
you
Metal
telling
Gear
me
Solid.
the
Yeah, they
Metal Gear
pulled. Yep,
Solid?
yep. They
Almost like
absolutely did.
Solid Snake style,
Absolutely
and just
did.
walked right up to the damn thing
Because
and
they
fucking
can't
touched it.
recognize that a box is friendly or not friendly. They just know that, oh, that's a car. When it scans it, it just saw it as a cardboard box that was somehow
It was a
moving.
cardboard box with legs. It wasn't.
It doesn't know
wasn't
how to constitute what that is, because even though it scanned through its information system, that what is that? It's a box. What is it? It's a
Right.
box.
Now, as
But
far as
there's a
like the
box with
Skynet
legs. That's okay. It's a
situation,
box.
right? As far as like it evolving into a Skynet situation, it would be really easy for the AI to just determine that anything that is not mechanical
Is a
is a target,
Yeah.
And
and
it could.
bam, you know what I'm saying? Instantaneously, every organic thing on the planet just became a target, and it would just glass everybody.
Like me personally, I'm of the opinion there should always be a man in the loop.
Yes.
True, and therein changes the dynamic, because it's no longer a true AI. A true AI is artificial intelligence.
So
Okay, I'm sorry. It changes from being what we have today as AI, where it's not autonomous.
imagine something
A
like this.
non-autonomous AI.
So imagine something like this. Like I saw this earlier. People are teaching AI to see people without a camera, and how the AI generated a visual representation of where everyone is in the room is it actually used Wi-Fi and radio waves within the room. Here, I'm going to play it really quick.
Well, hold on a second.
No, I'm just playing it right here. So it's a little thing on YouTube. It's a little skit really quick. You know, like how Batman is able to see with his visual goggles, you know, all through the floors. He's able to use sonar in order to see something. But what if we actually taught AI, and in that sense, like you're saying, if it's not of a mechanical nature, when it reads that 3D spaced imagery, yeah, it would totally be able to tell. Because look, right here, they said the router's coordinated on human bodies, so to detect 3D shapes. So it detects the 3D shapes, and then so from there, then masks out. Okay, hey, this whatever this is right here, from whatever the pings I'm getting, this looks like to be a human, and it drew out in a 3D scape. That's a human. That's a human shape. I don't care what it is. That's a human shape. I don't need a camera to see it. I see what that is. Here's a dude playing basketball. It's using the radio antennas to bounce the waves and then collect what it gets back when the waves bounce back. So
right. So
and this is from a Wi-Fi router. A Wi-Fi router emits this information, which then the AI then takes and receives and then translates it and then pops it in. Oh yeah, I can see you.
Right, but that's still that's still where is the human? You know, there's a human behind the keyboard.
Mm-hmm. No, there always will be.
So and when let's loop back around to the copyright stuff. So copyright, in order for the AI generated art to be truly, the property of the AI, it has to be an autonomous AI.
Mm-hmm. It has to be.
It has to be autonomous, because otherwise there's human involvement, and therefore, you need permissions to use other people's intellectual property. The AI generated art is, somebody's it has to be claimed as somebody's property. For instance, the Van Gogh, in order to fucking sue the guy that made that, you know what I mean? Who do you go after?
Well,
for the
how
copyright
can you really
infringement?
sue them?
You go after the guy that was running the computer.
But the vast majority of it is not Van Gogh. Like,
well, what I'm saying is like in the case where Fluffy was talking about, where the artist's initials were still on it. Who do you go after? Do you go after the AI, or do you go after the guy behind the computer doing the art?
Right.
You go after the guy doing the art.
Yeah.
You go after the human element, and that's where, like, all art becomes all of that, the copyrights and all of the trademarks and all that stuff, in order to enforce them, there has to be somebody breaching the contract.
Yeah,
Or
beyond
breaching.
beyond a situation like that, I would personally be of the opinion that anything AI generated is open source. It belongs to everybody.
To really to oversimplify it, yes, I would agree. However, if we agree that that truly autonomous AI, doesn't exist, because all AI has to pull from a database or a data pool that's generated by humans, then copyrights become an issue.
Right.
But then again,
because there's somebody to go after.
But then again, one could easily argue human beings are basically the same way. Everything that we decide on, we're pulling from knowledge we've acquired over time.
Well, that is true. So, like in a 3D in a 3D modeling scape, we consider that referencing. So, in order for me to and we'll subtract from like film and animation can be a thing, but in the video game world, for me to create, if I go over here to my personal projects,
a perfect example.
Okay.
What you were just showing on the screen, our Dark Ion logo, that was referenced from open source art. So the different elements of that logo were referenced from outside. We altered it to fit our application.
Right, because it's the atom symbol. Everyone knows the atom symbol. No one.
It was still referenced from open source artwork, and that's where I think we need to start drawing some lines in the AI field. Is okay, does it involve human
input?
Is it truly right? Does it involve human input? Is it truly autonomously generated? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like
true
how,
autonomous
where
ultra instinct.
Right. Where are the boundaries?
Shit.
And how can we set up boundaries that are equitable?
Yeah. So, and then like, yeah.
I mean, Wookie was saying that, a lot of in the art industry, a lot of people are worried about, AI taking over their jobs and so on and so forth.
Let me get back to like my little
valid concern.
Let me get back to my thing of like my long thing. I'll try to blast through it really fast. So film and animation, we know that 3D modeling has been used since all the way back to fucking Star Wars and shit. Like fucking 3D modeling Jabba the Hutt in the original takes of the videos, when we know the original Star Wars didn't have Jabba the Hutt. 3D modeling also helps with like film lighting that can't be produced. Avatar, not The Last Airbender, fuckers. Avatar, as in the blue monkeys dancing around in the trees. That was at that time perceived to be the most influential and creative aspect in the 3D modeling space, because 80-90% of that movie is 3D modeled to some extent or another. Video games in whole, I don't have to explain video games. We already know the extensiveness in 3D modeling, both rigging, character creation, animation, so on and so forth. Architecture and interior design, that's easy, man, because like you look through here and like this whole scape right here, though it may not be real, at some given point in time, this room could eventually be real. Maybe in a farther on future, but someone could look at this and be like, yeah, we're going to use this as a design aspect. All the power leads and whatever this may be, whether it be a time chamber or whatever the fuck it doesn't matter. So that's part of like the 3D modeling scape. And then just product design. Hey, Boo comes to me and hey Wookie, okay, what's up? I want to make the cleanest, most inductive delivery turbo or supercharger out there that could go in my Ford F-150. All right, cool. Well, we got to go through some R&D to do that. All right, some guy sits down and 3D models it, and he looks at previous models to see what he can take from that in order to create that object. So, for example, like me taking a cylinder, and if I go back to my art pieces, in particularly, I mean, look at my M32A1 grenade launcher. Yeah, it's not super pretty, but this was designed simply from a bunch of static cylinders and cubes. And cylinders. The whole barrel where the fucking bloop comes out of is literally a cylinder. It's a cylinder.
Well, there's a reason it's called a bloop tube.
Right.
Oh, I call it a noob tube.
The actual
Rocket launcher's a noob tube.
The actual revolver system is created from a cylinder. All I did is then take certain vertices and I scrunched them in order to make that revolver style look. I mean, a scope is pretty self-explanatory, just a cylinder. A lot of it's all cylinders. Most of this project is all cylinders. Even the I don't know what it would particularly be called, but the guard here that goes around the barrel. Now, most people would be like, Wookie, that's a cube. No, it was actually generated from...
That's an octagon. Yeah.
Well, the rail system, that rail system right there was actually generated from a cylinder. I didn't generate it from a cube. I generated it from a cylinder. I just brought down the faces of that cylinder so tight that it created that shape.
Right. Now,
So that would be a form of, conceptual design and so on and so forth.
Right, but it's a conceptual design, so it doesn't fall under copyright and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
If you were to
remanufacture this motherfucker,
right? But if you were to take the original design specs, you know what I mean, design image from the company that patented that particular grenade launcher, and
here, I'll give you guys a little look.
Well, that goes into
and recreate it. Now, hold on. If you were to take that original design and the original dimensions, and everything, and then generate your own piece like an AI would, is that new artistic representation considered conceptual art, or is it a direct, you know what I mean, that the AI is going to take its cues from the original design specs,
well, yeah,
and generate an image based on the original design specs? Is that a trademark or a copyright infringement?
Well, see, much of how us artists are taught, okay, how does a grenade launcher look? We all know what a grenade launcher looks like. We know several versions and variations of what a grenade launcher looks like. But as an artist, depending on what the person comes at us at, for example, you could treat me as an AI unit. I'm showing my portfolio reference sheet is what general artists in the game industry use. And as you see, I do have the M32A1 as multiple pictures and art pieces, not only just an American made, but also the original. I don't know who it's originally created by, but I also have the one that goes on like an M4.
I think it's Milcor that makes
it. It's Milcor. It's Milcor. But I even have the original one that actually goes on the M4 right here. If you look at the piece,
the M203, yeah.
Yeah, I have the M203.
That was originally on the M16, but yeah.
Okay, M16. Sorry, my bad. That's why I have these guys here, because they can correct me for all my stupidity.
The M16, the M4 is a derivative, is an M6 and an AR-15 derivative firearm.
Right,
it's kind of funny because I think the original M203 was it wasn't the M4, but it was the precursor to the M4, but not the M16. I forget what it was, XM something, but yeah.
But
yeah,
back to
that is. Yeah, it's the precursor to the M16.
But back to
it was developed for the M16 for the AR-15 family of firearms.
Yeah. Right, but back to his thing is okay, Wookie, I came to you with these references. Where's my M32A1? Oh, okay, well, it's it's over here, dude. I gotta create it for you, and so on and so forth. But if he plugs all that in to an AI generator, what would the AI generator come in? Would the AI generator then?
No. I'm not saying it doesn't matter what the AI generator comes up with. What I'm saying is the final image, is that considered concept art, where it doesn't fall under the copyright? Because even if you plug in the data pool that you plug in is the reference material. So even if you plugged in the exact manufacturer's statistics and data on
Right.
the M fucking whatever grenade launcher you put in there, whatever weapon, whatever thing that you have in it, whatever item it is,
Drinking bottle, whatever it may be.
if you give the AI the original specs and it produces an image based on those original specs, is it still considered concept art? Because it was produced by a third party.
I would in my thing, I think in a lot of what I'm seeing everywhere, I think no, AI art then becomes, a lot of people would tell you, well, that's stolen, because the simple fact is that the person didn't sit down and create that piece from scratch. Like they didn't
But they're just
design
using that. They're just plugging the parameters into
exactly.
the AI design. The same as if
I
they
get
used
that.
a
Yeah.
Van Gogh piece as a parameter, or if they used, a musical piece as a parameter, and the AI just took, this riff or this, this little piece of the coda, and a handful of notes or a handful of sections out of a given song or out of a given work of art. You know what I'm saying? And plugged those in. It's tough because on one hand it's a breach of copyright because you don't have permission to use that material.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it could be considered concept art because it's the AI's. You know what I mean? You just plugged in a set of reference
It
material.
depends on the usage of the new material. If you're just using it as a
reference?
look what I can do, and you're not
Or
making
like a
money
prototype almost.
and
Yeah.
you're not making money off of it, then yeah, reference piece sounds good. But
Well,
the minute income is start being earned because of this new piece, then it goes back to
But
like the
you can
music
earn-
industry. You have to
you can
give
earn
credit
income on concept art.
by selling it.
Every video game, every war video game that has a fucking M4 rifle in it, those are considered concept representations of an M4.
They are also distinct. They are also distinct enough to not fall into to not cause a copyright violation.
Technically
No.
speaking, how can it? Because the patent is over 20 years old. It's in the public domain at this point.
What I'm saying is you look at COD and you look at the M16 and COD. It is a direct one-to-one representation of an M16.
Yes.
Tarkov is the same way.
And
All
if
right,
they
wait,
M16 and M16
not COD. COD doesn't use real guns. COD
it
uses
really.
fake. I think for this very reason, COD uses fake guns because they
They're
probably
too
don't want to play
afraid.
licenses for it. Whereas Tarkov uses real guns, but I'm willing to bet Tarkov has permissions from all of those gun
No,
manufacturers.
they don't ask because they're in
No.
Russia. They don't give a damn.
Oh well, they're okay.
Their
Well, fine. It's
their
not an American company.
Their
But
jurisdictions
doesn't
are
apply.
different.
jurisdiction,
Yes.
so they can get around. They can get around copyright because they're from a different country.
right.
But I think
Copyright is
COD.
specific.
But COD doesn't. They don't use real guns. They use guns that share likeness with real guns.
Yeah, they
And
are.
so when
very
people
close,
talk
but
about
there's
it,
slight
yeah.
differences. Yeah.
So when people talk about it, you say M4, and the COD people know you're talking about a certain gun, whatever the name of that gun is called in COD. But like there's an UMP kind of gun in COD, there's an MP5 kind of gun in COD.
There's a
But
Chris
there-
Vector kind of gun.
there's not a actual. They're not actually called the thing. There's
Copyrighted
some.
names.
They're made up names, and there's little variances to make them look a little bit different. To
So
say this is
Okay,
different.
hold on a second. My favorite rifle in the original Modern Warfare, in the first Modern Warfare,
I can't talk to. I can only
Well,
talk
the
to the
original,
something
they
I played lately.
actually did pay licensing.
Yeah.
No.
fees,
I'm
but
talking. I'm
nowadays they're
talking.
too cheap for
I'm
it.
talking. Modern Warfare, and now Modern Warfare 2. I'm talking about the
The
multiplayer.
reboots? Are you talking about the reboots or the originals, though?
I'm talking about the two most current Modern Warfares.
Okay, so the reboots.
Okay, in Modern Warfare, the first one, my favorite weapon in that game is the M27. Now,
Okay.
Okay,
I used to own an M27, and the M27, it's named the M27 in Modern Warfare, and it's a 1-to-1. I mean, it looks just like the one I had.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I mean,
but
down
something
to,
has
down to the
changed
sight
because in
rail,
Warzone
everything.
they're not the same now. In War, if you go pull up your Warzone now and you log in, those guns are not called real names.
Okay, so let's come back over my way and do a perfect example of this. No. You guys are on the right track.
No.
You guys are on the right track of
I
originality.
got
Of
something on this
originality.
track though too. I got something on this track too
Okay,
though, but it's not related to visual art, but
No, and
so
that's cool. I want
recently-
you to have something. That's what I
Yeah,
wanted. That's why I had you here.
so like recently, people have used AI to recreate musicians' voices.
Voices in general, not just musicians'
Yeah.
voices.
Well, I can only speak to what I've heard though.
Okay,
So,
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Go ahead.
I've heard two distinct tracks. There is a little artist that MKHB had put on. He did the video on it,
Mhm.
and this guy has a song out that's featuring Jay-Z,
Mhm.
and Jay-Z's not the real Jay-Z's not involved in this thing at all. But
Right.
when he played the audio, if someone didn't tell you before that it was AI,
You would have never
Jay-Z,
guessed.
you would have just thought, "Oh, damn, this dude's got a new song with Jay-Z." You know what I mean? And
Not realizing that's not the case.
right. And then the Eminem thing that blew up, where someone
I heard
told
about that.
AI to write a song in the style of Eminem about cats, and it was like a TikTok short or a YouTube short, and it blew up. It went viral, and then they had to take it down because it sounded like Eminem, but it wasn't Eminem. And so now when you're creating this content, you're now profiting off someone's likeness,
right,
without their permission,
right.
like that. Like it's like it's one thing for reference, but it's a whole nother thing when we're talking about these videos going viral and these content creators making money because of the millions of views they're getting.
But from what I remember of the whole Eminem thing, it was he even posted it as being in the Eminem style, as I mean he he had a disclaimer stating that it wasn't Eminem.
Yeah, you can disclaim all you want to. Did he have Eminem's permission to use his voice?
But he
Probably.
didn't. He didn't.
Probably.
He wasn't using Eminem's voice.
It was sampling.
It was
Based on it was using instructions based on sampling.
right.
But again, is that considered concept art?
And see,
Because
that's
it's
where we lead
their
into the copyright legal
concept.
space too.
No.
If he is making money off of it, selling it commercially, that is no longer.
Well,
he's not
worse,
selling it.
worse,
Not
worse,
selling it, but content creators get paid for views.
Right, worse.
Right.
So if it's on YouTube,
he is making money off of that product,
right?
Directly or indirectly, it is no longer concept.
Right, if he's on YouTube,
once it is sold in any way, shape, or form, it is no longer a concept. It is something that has been sold. Until it makes money, yes, it can be called concept.
With a disclaimer saying that it is not the original artist.
Doesn't matter.
It is reproducing his voice.
Think of it
his
this way.
intonation, his tone, everything.
Think of it this way, Boo. Hang on.
It is effectively his voice.
Think of it this way, Boo. Every time someone clicks on that video and watches it and likes it and puts a comment on, that spikes that dude's, views. It spikes his looks. And he hits 1 million. Let's say he hits 1 million views from that. YouTube now pays him, but YouTube will pay him out because they don't care under the circumstances because he generated that piece of art, so it does not become a piece of concept at that point. A
Right, but
concept
it's not.
a
But
concept
if
would
it's
be like if you draw out the plans for, the back deck of your house. Let's say you're going to upgrade the back deck of your house, right? You're going to put on this beautiful deck for you and Betty, and you're going to put in a mister system and all this stuff, and you're going to draw out the plans. That would be a concept piece. See,
no,
but
no. What I'm more concerned with where me and Thomas were going was, yes, it is done technically in his likeness.
Mhm.
Okay, it's done in his style with his vocal style and all that kind of stuff. But if it wasn't,
So
if
you said
Eminem didn't record his
keyword,
voice,
likeness. You cannot use someone's likeness without
Without
their
permission.
permission.
Right.
well, yeah, but likeness is a hard term because
No.
it's not, it wasn't generated using clips
That's
of his voice.
it
It
was.
Where do you
used-
think AI
It
gets the voice?
was. It
But
was
yeah,
actually.
how's the AI going to get the voice if it doesn't
The
sample and analyze voice patterns and
Right,
how is it
right.
going to
Okay, so
recreate the voice?
right, but it analyzed it and then ran it through its own
Okay.
algorithm and generated a completely unique expression of, you know what I mean?
But it's not
is-
it's not unique if it sounds like Eminem.
Right.
That's the problem, especially.
Everybody sounds like somebody else. Though.
That's different.
the thing.
But-
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's
that's
gotta be
different.
somebody out there. There's other people out there who are singing Eminem's,
The
like,
point is,
for instance, Michael Jackson impersonator.
so boo.
The guy sings and sounds just like Michael Jackson. So is he infringing copyright?
Technically,
if he
yes.
goes out
Yes.
and writes
No,
a song,
hang on.
writes
I can answer
a
that.
unique song with his own lyrics and happens to sing it in the style of Michael Jackson, is that infringing upon Michael Jackson?
Impersonators.
If
Or
he
slight-
generates a unique musical piece,
That is
If you're-
not infringement.
That's not
that's
the same
exactly
thing.
what
Well,
the
this
AI
was
did.
impersonated.
No,
So
that
he
is not the
generated a
same
song.
thing.
He
Not the
generated a
same thing.
song that was not written by Eminem.
That is
That
not
was
the same
not
thing.
created by Eminem. It just happened to sound like Eminem.
It's
It was
made
about
to
text.
sound like Eminem on purpose. It's not. We're not
So
talking about
you
someone who
impersonate.
just sounds the same as somebody else. I mean, you can make the argument. So like in the '90s when Biggie was hot, right? You had Biggie was hot, and then Biggie died, and then Puffy went out and grabbed Shine. And Shine had that one hit wonder song before he went to jail, and everyone kept saying, Puffy replaced Biggie with this new guy because he sounds like Biggie too. And Shine does. Shine sounds like Biggie. They,
Absolutely.
vocally, they sound identical.
They're
But
almost identical. Yes.
right, but they don't rap the same.
Right, but what I'm saying is an impersonator could go out and write an original song and sing it and sound just like, let's say Leanne Rhymes, and the vocal intonation is identical, the tempo to their song, the tempo to their voice is the same.
But you know what they're not doing? They're not saying this is the new Michael Jackson song. They're saying this is the new Joe Blow song.
Well, here's the thing: the person didn't say that either. They
Right.
put a disclaimer. It's in the style of Eminem.
Right, they actually had a disclaimer saying that this is not Eminem.
They
So-
also directly took his voice and made it sound exactly like him.
Yeah.
In
It's not
tone,
the-
in
Yeah.
tonality, intonation, range, and style. A human interprets that as best they can, but it's still their
So-
interpretation.
so
It is
actu-
not something that is intentionally
Yeah,
So
right,
let's get.
but
Hang
it's
on.
one. It is not something that could be directly in the same. Could not trigger pass a vocal recognition of the person.
So let's get in that AI space right there. Like Fluffy was talking about the music. No. I pulled up I
No, no.
think
Right.
the song, and it says these flows are and raw, complex rhymes and schemes give this song the old school feel. The AI drops bars reminiscent to that of 90s and early
Oh, play
2000s
this.
Slim
Let me hear
Shady
some of this.
freestyle.
Play this.
This song was not written or recorded by Marshall Mathers, also known as Eminem. All lyrics are written by SG channel owner parentheses. All voice synthesized via AI. So what he probably did is he got an AI generated voice platform, which I was looking them up just recently. I wanted to see how accurate they can be, and I found one
They're
for
dumb.
Keanu. I found one for Keanu Reeves, and I swear to God, it sounded like Keanu Reeves was on the phone with me.
It's like the
But
Obama, Biden,
but
and Trump videos that Ion was posting in Discord, where they
right.
do like their gaming
So
in their it's like Discord chat.
let's hear this for a minute. This is an AI generated because, like I said, this touches all art, and art is in a community bigger than just I drew picture or I 3D modeled. It's
Right.
everything
Right.
art.
This
So
is the this is
let's listen to this. Just we'll play a
yep.
little bit of it. I'm not playing the whole fucking thing.
I can't hear it because I'm not actually on the stream, but I now wouldn't know the difference.
That shit is scary as fuck, dude.
Right, because it sounds like
It sounds like Eminem
eight
from the
mile,
early
8
'90s.
Mile. Yeah.
No, this is before. It sounds like before 8 Mile Eminem, before he was famous.
Right. So here's my argument. In full view. This is an impersonation of Eminem.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
That is an impersonation of Eminem
No.
by
Yeah.
an AI.
No.
Correct.
Absolutely not.
How is it not?
An impersonation. An impersonation is Kevin
It's an
Hart
original piece.
or Tracy Morgan going up on stage and faking like he's somebody for 30 seconds for some laughs.
No, because there are impersonation artists that strive for accuracy.
Oh, of course there are.
Right.
Of course there are.
So that what's the difference between that and an AI striving for accuracy?
People are
To create content or
No.
create a piece of art that is as close to the original as possible.
Because here's the thing: all the lyrics were made by the guy, like
But
not
it
Eminem
doesn't.
at all.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You're using someone else's voice without their permission to make money. And yeah, he put up there, this is a nonprofit channel, but you can, if you look at the description, you can donate to me here.
So, according to intellectual property law, if training artificial intelligence with human voice or generating songs is used for non-commercial purposes, it most likely won't infringe on rights.
But we're not just talking a human voice, we're talking someone's human voice.
Right.
In the
that's-
likeness of
That's
someone
a human,
else.
That's in legal terms. That's a human voice
Yeah.
in likeness. That still
It
applies.
doesn't say likeness though. It just says generating with a human voice. It doesn't say in someone's likeness.
It does.
A new composition that is composed with an AI tool or sung using an AI generated voice may not incorporate any substantial similar element or substantial part of any previous work that is actually protected by copyright.
There you go.
Right. So
No.
previous work.
So if it is custom work done by the AI, it is not protected by the original copyright holder, the way the law is currently written.
Right.
Yeah, that's just going to change quick.
That and the
However-
entire lyrics was not written by Eminem. Like there is nothing
Right.
similar about the lyrics. Like as far as I'm concerned, that didn't break any copyright.
I would say it is intellectually dishonest, but not illegal.
Look,
Based on that
Ruler, you and Boo can go
everyday
off on this. Oh, it's just a likeness bullshit all you want to. But the fact of the matter is, that shit is fucking scary. Because
Right.
it's, as
Well,
soon as you
so
start.
impersonators-
Wait. No, wait. No.
Dude, let him
Stop.
finish his point,
Okay.
As
please.
soon as you start mimicking someone else's voice, you're opening up a security
risk.
wormhole for security risks all over the place. Not only that, but now you know, people can say, oh, it's nonprofit, but it's bullshit that it's nonprofit because you know, he's still asking for donations. So
And
somebody's going to donate.
He's still making money.
He's
off
still
of
making money off someone else's shit.
So on and so forth.
Yeah.
I understand that, but what impersonators will sing, you know, the actual song written by a given artist.
Yeah, but you go see an impersonator. It's not just something you happen upon. If you heard that song and you didn't pull up that, if you heard that playing and on someone's radio and you just walk by, you would think
oh, dude, that's Eminem.
Eminem shit.
Is that some old school shit from
It's not
like
the same
dark
thing
ages?
as you paying a ticket to go see a Michael Jackson or an Elvis impersonator on in Vegas or on Broadway or some shit like that.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing.
If they're putting it in the disclaimer of their thing,
like,
saying, "Hey, this is an
fully-
original song. This is not Eminem. This is not this. This is not this. And this is my own original interpretation of this person's art
on
form."
On YouTube, what happens when you hear it on Spotify?
And it doesn't have, it has the artist's name and the song title, and it's not Eminem. It just happens to sound like him.
But
It's
do you
no
think
different.
that's how it'll be?
I think the problem here, if I can inject, I think the problem here is that with AI, this is where the scary fact gets with a lot of people, is it's so much a fucking gray area that the legal boundaries of what can be discerned as and what cannot be discerned as right and wrong have not been hammered out in crystal black and white detail, because I see it from Fluffy's point of view. If Fluffy was the creator, and let's say Fluffy was Eminem, probably Eminem doesn't give two fucks because he's got more than enough money. He don't give a rat's ass.
His record label does.
His record label will. His record label will. So I'm trying to be the mediator between both of this. So on Fluffy's scale, that's some bullshit. He's stealing my stuff.
It's bull.
He's stealing my intellectual property of my voice.
It's worse.
Hang on. He's stealing the intellectual property of my voice, my sound, my style.
Yep.
My impersonation, because my likeness. Right, likeness. Because don't we have laws for infringement? We do. If you infringe on me, I can sue you. So what if, let's say Eminem says, well, that's infringing on me because you're taking all that I have created over my 20-year lifespan, which is what I'm going to lead into here very soon. I'm staging the field for me really quick. But let's go over to Boo's scale really quick. Boo and Ruler both say, well, the artist is using, he generated the words himself. He thought as a reference piece to give homage back to Eminem, someone that he probably looks up to.
That's bullshit.
Hang on. I'm playing the middleman. I gave you your side. Let's look at it both avenues. Let's be fair. Because there is no black and white yet. But they will be coming soon. I'm pretty fucking sure of it. But let's say that person pays homage. For instance, I pay homage to Todd McFarlane. Does anyone know who Todd McFarlane is?
Spawn.
Creator of Spawn, yes. So a lot of my eye style for a lot of my characters pays homage to that of Todd McFarlane's Spawn because I love Spawn. So in this writer slash artist slash musician's space, he probably looks up to Eminem because if we probably listen to that whole song and read through the bars that are spit, it probably tells a story that's specific to him.
Nah,
And that's how Eminem worked. No, that's how Eminem worked, is he talked
nah.
about his life through his words. Now,
Mm-mm.
I still do agree, I think within more Fluffy's favor though, is that yes, is it taking away from the original artist? Yes. Now, is that artist putting in his fair share of trying to create the words? Yeah, I think so. As long
Okay.
as you can't go back and you could say, "Hey, can you produce the scriptures of how you writ this out?" Because most artists write their shit out. Even I scribble my shit out before I do it. I kind of create a conceptual piece to show what I see in my head. So
Let me counterpoint.
okay, go ahead. Fair enough. And
All right.
each of you can counterpoint, but be fair, but don't be rude.
Two things, right?
Okay, what's up?
First thing with the homage. It's one thing to pay homage to an artist or a person that you admire for their creative talent, right?
Right.
You said yourself, you stylized some of your drawings after Todd McFarlane. All good, right? If an artist, and people in the music industry do it now, you can hear new artists who sound very similar to somebody from 20 or 30 years ago. It happens all the time. The difference being is, if I want to pay homage to Eminem, I'm going to sing the song, right? If I want to pay homage to Michael Jackson or Prince or Biggie or Tupac, and I want to do a song the way they did it, it's still going to be me doing it. I'm going to write it, I'm going to sing it, and I'm going to be the one saying, this is going out to my favorite artist who, gave me so much, and this is my way to say thank you.
Okay.
The fact that they used AI voice to make it sound like Eminem is a shady ass shit to make money and get views. Period.
Okay, now hold on.
Okay,
I have a rebuttal.
so that's Fluffy. All right, Boo,
Right.
you go ahead.
I have a rebuttal. So, if somebody, what's the difference between using an AI to recreate somebody's voice and using auto-tune and adjusting the dials on the auto-tune to make your voice sound just like somebody else?
They don't. That's not what auto-tune does, though. Auto-tune fixes pitch.
Auto-tune can be used to alter your voice.
No, it alters your voice, but it doesn't make you sound like someone else. It fixes your bad
can
pitch.
if you tinker the settings. Yeah.
Show me.
Yes, you can.
Show me. Give me an example. Because I've heard a lot of people sound the same on autotune because of the echo effect that autotune gives you.
Autotune was originally designed to mimic the voices of other artists.
That is false.
And other people.
That is false.
Okay.
Autotune was designed so everyone could sing on pitch, and I can show you video proof of it because they interviewed the guy on TV when T-Pain blew up.
Time out. So let's look at auto-tune, what it is. See, that's where you have to then start doing, you gotta look into everything now. See, this is the things with AI. And AI has to look into
before you get into that, let me make my second point real quick.
Okay,
my second point is, and this is less about law and more about common knowledge, especially in hip-hop. So in hip-hop, especially in the 80s and 90s, in hip-hop's younger when it was still in infancy before it is what it is now, and it's all over the place. It is frowned upon to copy someone's style, cadence, flow, whatever you want, whatever words you want to use to whatever adjective you want to give to a person's the way they rap. I know a lot of people who don't listen to rap think it's all the same, but it's really not. There are cadences and there are styles of flow, the way they deliver their words that are different from rapper to rapper to rapper. And anytime a new artist would come out, if he mimicked someone else's style, it was frowned upon, and that new artist was shunned because he wasn't original. He was just copying someone else's shit. So in the hip hop community, copying someone else's shit is very, very bad. Very bad. Like, there's no law against it, and obviously with this AI stuff, people are skirting in gray areas for to get away with what they're doing with this voice modulation and AI. But in like in the community, copying someone else's style or cadence or anything else like that is extremely frowned upon, and it has ended careers.
Okay, so let me fire blast this off really quick. So
All right, go ahead with the auto-tune.
Auto-tune is an audio processor introduced in '97 by the American company Antares Audio Technologies. It uses a perpetual device to measure and alter pitch in vocal and instrumental music recordings and performance. Auto-tune was originally intended to disguise or correct off-key inaccuracies, allowing vocal tracks to be perfectly tuned. In '98, this was used with Cher's song Believe, popularized the technique of using autotune to distort vocals. Now, let's scroll down a little bit. The function. Auto-tune is available as a plugin through digital audio workstations used in a studio setting and as a standalone rack-mounted unit in live performance processing. The process slightly shifts pitches to the nearest true correct semitone (parentheses) to the exact pitch of the nearest note in traditional equal temperament. Auto-tune can also be used as an effect to distort the human's voice when pitch is raised or lowered significantly, such that the voice is heard to leap from note to note stepwise like a synthesizer. So they use this on Cher, from what I'm reading here.
Yeah, she was the first one to
because
blow up with it.
she can switch from notes super fast. So in order to regulate that, they promoted this in her song to kind of bring her, so she's not just leading from one note to another note to another note. She gets more of a melodic taste in the music. So auto-tune completely replacing someone's voice? No.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said it was used to sound make yourself sound like somebody else.
It is capable of doing so.
You have to be
Absolutely.
able. It will not pass a vocal recognition test.
True.
The AI
Probably would
would be much more likely to be able to pass a vocal recognition
I don't.
to full vocal recognition.
Well, then
I don't know if it's that advanced yet.
But then that comes the question that.
So wait. Are you saying that auto-tune can be used to sound like someone else?
You have, in order to do so, you would have, because of the way it works, you would have to train your voice to get really close, and it would still sound distorted.
Right, because you would have to, yeah. So that would be a voice changer, not so much as an auto-tune.
Yeah, there are voice changers.
Auto-tune is about the actual tone and pitch of your voice.
Yep.
There are voice modulators that could do it.
So
it makes OK Singer sound very good.
Okay,
or really bad.
Weren't
really bad. Yeah.
Voice changers based on auto-tune technology?
I don't know.
Voice changing tech is older than auto-tune.
Yeah, so, I think voice changing is more about modulation.
What was the question, Boo? Hang on. What was the question? Voice change?
Was voice changing technology based on auto-tune?
I think voice changing technology is older. I mean, because auto-tune's not that old.
And I had voice changers when I was growing up.
Auto-tune is a voice changer, but not all voice changers are auto-tune.
Right.
Right. Yes, auto-tune is a voice changer, as it helps in changing voice during live streaming and also helps with tuning distorted voices without any issue automatically.
That's a terrible choice of words, but okay.
I mean, that's what I'm just reading. Auto-tune was originally intended to disguise or correct off-key inaccuracies, allowing vocal tracks to be perfectly tuned, and it still regulates to Cher's Believe in 1998. So,
do you believe? Oh,
okay. Yeah,
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
but
so
Go ahead.
So this whole line of thinking, or a whole
It's
line of
completely
conversation
derailed.
is right. This whole line of conversation is troublesome because I mean I
Right.
agree with Fluffy that it is
But-
scary as shit.
Right, because what happens? What happens?
If you can generate somebody else's voice
Well,
artificially.
Right, because what happens today? Let's say tonight I'm hanging out here. Some asshole on the World Wide Web decides to watch through all of my stream and then plot through all of my voice lines, and then makes a direct phone call, and it comes from an anonymous number, and the number comes in at you, boo, and you know it. You don't know who it is, but you answer, and it sounds exactly like me, and I say, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble. I just got in a car wreck. I think I'm gonna die." And let's say it sounds really fucking real.
Right.
And you rush to the fucking hospital. Look, I'm looking for Joshua Meach, but no one's there.
Right.
No, we don't have a Joshua Meach. What the fuck are you talking about? You come over here, bang on my door. Wookie, wake the fuck up, man. And what the fuck's up, dude? You're alive? Yeah, I'm alive. You just called me. No, I didn't. I've been asleep for the last fucking 4 hours, bro.
Right.
Could you
or
imagine
for
how
instance,
scary that is? And that's become a problem as of late. Hence why I bring it up, because people were actually using AI generated voice technology to cause
Let me do you one better.
pranks.
Let me do you one better.
right? Take it.
Let me take you to a scary place that you can relate to.
Can we go overkill?
Go ahead.
What happens when someone spoofs your phone number and they start opening credit cards and shit in your name because they sound like you?
That is completely different, though.
Yeah, but it's
Is it?
kind of not.
Because
it's
it's
in the same
AI.
space.
You don't think the scammers are going to get a hold of that bullshit and then start spoofing people's voices too? Because even if you go to the cops, right, and they record, all those conversations are recorded, the cops are going to be like, "That's your fucking voice."
No, it isn't.
You opened that fucking credit card and charged all that shit, and now you're trying to get away with it saying it wasn't you, but that's you on the telephone.
Right, and they do a voice comparison with their software, and the voice comparison comes up a match.
Because let's be honest, telephone audio isn't great.
Oh no.
Right.
So, it doesn't even have to be that good.
Right. So, as I was leading back to, like, we're talking about AI, and like, if you guys look at my screen really quick, because it's going to lead one into another. If you guys are looking at my screen, who is this?
That's Zelda, ain't it?
Is it?
It looks like Zelda.
So.
I mean, I guess it was Zelda if I was guessing.
Right, it looks like Zelda. It looks like someone hand painted it. But if I told you that
it doesn't look hand painted, it looks like someone painted or someone did the art and then they did an effect after they made the picture to make it look like watercolors or something.
It's a digital brush painting. I can mimic this. It's really hard.
They used the digital watercolor
what
palette.
They used is they used AI Zelda, True Hero, fan art series exploring Princess Zelda as the hero protagonist, her growth from humble beginnings. And they say that they worked this in Photoshop, so they probably went through Photoshop and made some alternate corrections, but they used Midjourney because Midjourney is only so good via the programming and the inputs that are put into it. And if you look through as I've scrolled down, these are really cool pieces. Now, this piece particularly stands out to me because it's kind of funny because I can start to see Sophitia from Soul Calibur in this piece because her armor is worn particularly in relations to it.
She's too feminine.
Sophitia? From Soul Calibur?
The Zelda. The Zelda doesn't look
warrior
enough to be that.
I'm not talking about Zelda in general. I'm talking about another.
I'm talking about this picture.
Yes,
this picture of it though. But
right.
I get where you're going.
But they're really cool pieces. But now this design versus this design look totally different. The ears are not right. So there's that. Hands look correct, thank God. Okay, this looks more Zelda, but it's what if Zelda was wearing Link's uniform? I could see Link's uniform here from Skyward Sword, so there's that. That's cool, conceptual for a conceptual piece. Very interesting Zelda, and it was so on and so forth. Okay, more childlike Link to the past kind of look. All right, kind of cool. But one of the things that arises to me is that. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, though these pieces are cool, and I guess I can kind of give the artist props. The thing
No, you
is
can't.
when you go to, where is it? Is it this one? And I just hit the back button. If you look over ArtStation, which is a professional workspace area, a lot of it you're going to see a lot of people that just say no to AI generated art because, well, in order for an AI piece to be generated, it has to yield off of something else. And that's where I pull up this piece of Hot Rod. Very cool, mechanized machine. Looks like it could be something in
I
Transformers.
was gonna say, is that from Transformers?
Mhm.
Well, there is an actual transformer called Hot Rod.
Yeah,
And
no.
the problem that arises here that this person could not do, because he does show that he made it in Blender, and then once he got a likable image, he put it in Photoshop, but the AI tools are at question. Now the comment here, awesome work, would be really cool to see your process. Now that's hard though with a lot of AI generated art. They can't show the process of how this piece was made because they don't.
They didn't make it.
Well, if they did make it, they used so much
No,
AI that they couldn't
no, they didn't
show.
make it.
If the
What they did.
AI did the
Well,
art, there's not a process that they
Yeah,
did.
what happened is
well,
they got the base picture from AI and then they touched it up.
right. So, like for instance, this piece right here actually shows what's called breakdown. You do a breakdown piece. So someone did a sketch and they showed the different levels of the homes. And then, so this is like a rough draft. This is a more refinement of, oh, I want to add some more goodies to this one. They
Yeah,
added
and then
like
they
the
did it in
gate.
color,
Then they did it in color to kind of give, okay, this is the feel and the style of it. And they
and then they
3D model,
3D'd it.
and
Yep.
then they rendered and lightened it. And then
Those
okay,
are
well,
massive loaves of bread, man.
they are. Well, I mean, it's probably a loaf of bread for
Hey
a
man,
mouse,
I was hungry, man. I was hungry. What do you want,
but
bro?
I think this is really cool, and it's the same thing with like, where is it? Come on, not this. Well, that I'll get back to this in a second. Here it is. For character designing, we have to. This is a very beautiful character, and they did it all in Photoshop. At least I hope. Um, well, it's by ZeniMax Online Studio, so I'm assuming that if you're working for ZeniMax, they're gonna probably grill you if you're using AI art. Um, Very beautiful piece. Looks like it could be a possible mech warrior with a cybernetic arm. I would love to see that. She has some fascinations with Deadpool and Spider-Man. Really cool. Like Atari, awesome. Helmet kind of gives me a fighter pilot, almost Star Wars-esque feel to it. Super cool.
So yeah,
But
some kind
but
of airplane pilot.
but if you look at this, the person showed the breakdown. Now, a person with AI art isn't going to be able to yield this type of information to their art director. Their art director is going to be like, okay, well, where'd you get this from? And that was an
Yeah, I
issue
mean
that
this
was an
shows
issue.
the concept, and then it shows the expansion on the concept.
And then,
All the
and
way up to the final product.
right, the further iterations into it. And then
Right.
this would come across my desk. Hey, Wookie, go ahead and 3D model this. This character's set to good to go. We got a green light. All right, cool. I'm going to go start going through the process because I have enough 2D information to an extent to make a 3D model of this. I don't really care about what her back looks like. I can kind of jury rig that to some extent by looking at 3D female anatomy of like how the back works in a female, and I can fill in those plot holes. It's all references, big quotation marks, and you look up references to generate stuff like this. Like, okay, well, what's like a sports bra look like? Well, okay, I can go to either to the store and start thumbing through the females' sports bras, or I can look up reference pieces of a woman that's in workout clothing to build this piece. But that's the thing I think where AI
Right, but
draws the line. The AI can't do that
the AI goes from A to D.
real
Right.
You know what
fast,
I mean? 1 to 4.
or it just
Bam.
generates four. It doesn't
I
generate
was gonna
Right.
one.
say it's
Right.
because
Well,
one
you
is the
give it
words you
1.
use. Yeah, you
Right.
give it
You
one.
give it 1, and it spits out 4. It
Right.
Yeah.
alleviates all the in between stuff. All of the it doesn't cite the reference material when it generates whatever it is that the AI is generating. So, like in the music thing, you give it a handful of bars and say run with it, and it runs with it.
See,
You know what I mean? And
like
then spits out a song at the
let's
end.
look at this piece. This is an AI generated piece. I I I, I want to say it's kind of a cool mecha, but it's so fucking messy for AI. Like, what is this? What is this actuator right here? What is this rib caging? Like, it makes no sense. So that's where, like, as a
I'm sorry.
reference, yeah, right, exactly. It looks all right. I'm not going to be captivated by that character because it looks so messy. But if you were to say, I'm going to use this as a referential piece, okay, maybe I like the head armor, the way that it's shaped. Maybe I like
As a
that. Maybe,
concept,
yeah,
yeah.
concept. Maybe I like the chest armor specifically. Oh, you know what? I do like the wide,
Right.
bulky
So
thighs. Maybe I'll
is it
use the bulky
acceptable?
thighs. As
Is it
if
acceptable
for
to
me,
use AI generated art as reference piece
so
and then generate your own,
so
and then
for me,
create your own concept art
see,
from that
I
AI
mean,
generated stuff?
speaking
Or
to me.
is it acceptable to go the other way where you come up with a concept piece and then run it through the AI
so
to
So
finalize it?
here's where I am on this, right? So if this is AI generated, then this is referencing something that actually exists somewhere, some universe, right?
mhm.
Now I don't know the go back to the gold chick.
This one.
I don't know where the reference for this comes from. So as far as Fluffy's concerned, that shit looks original. I know it's probably not if it's AI generated because you have to get it from somewhere. AI has to pull the its inspiration from some other artist.
Well, the thing is, it could still be original. It may pull, like, for example, let's say the shoulders. It pulled it from one design. It
Yeah,
pulled everything
but
else
what
and
AI
put
have you seen
together
that's only
a
pulled a small
unique
part to do
design.
all of it? It usually pulls something much bigger when AI is creating art from something.
Not always.
I,
Okay, so
So
for instance, Wookie,
the chest plating reminds me a lot of Iron Man. The arms.
Wookie,
You know what the chest plating looks like?
show him.
Samus Aran.
it looks like
Can
something you
you
see in
Hang
show
on.
these
Destiny.
guys
Let's boo
what?
say.
Can you show these guys what the AI did for our logo?
It looks like something out of Destiny.
I could. It does look like something out of Destiny, but Destiny doesn't really have a robotic
It's
structure.
also similar to Warframe. It's similar
Yeah, I
to
can
a
see
lot of
that.
stuff.
Yeah, but it's gonna pull a lot from everything. Now, you asked, would this be acceptable as a reference piece? I would have to pick little portions of this.
Right, right.
I would not use, if you said, Wookie, I want you to design this mech, I would tell you, fuck you, first of all. Because I have to have my own artistic style in it, and this is not my artistic style. Now, I do like the look of this mech. I do like the look of it, and I don't care that
It looks
AI.
cool.
It looks cool. It does look cool. Now, what I would have liked to see, because like this lightning shit doesn't. I don't know if it constitutes, like, is this a bumblebee? Are these like some nano type wings that it has? If so, okay, cool. All right, I like
I
this.
thought it was hair.
I like this big chest plate right here, right? I like the look of that. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna say this is a female mecha of some sort because it looks like it would have. It's got, the super narrow hips, and it thickens out at the thighs. Um, Calves are a little bit bulky. I don't like the design of the calves, but let's say I like the chest piece. I like the helmet design. I would probably go a different path. I don't like this little thin wire that looks like that would bust in like one fight. So I'd probably want that to be like a shield plating that maybe comes up from behind. And I notice automatically that there's hair behind this character. So
So I
maybe
like the hair.
emphasize the character more because it gives me more of like a Zero-esque from Mega Man kind of look. All right, so I feel that. The pauldrons, just chuck those away. That looks like trash. Makes no sense. The actual mechanical structure of this piece just looks like shit. Do you understand? If not, it's all good. Can you also type your reply in chat as my audio isn't working? Squidward, I would love to help you with that. Unfortunately, I got my own things going on, and yeah,
He can't hear you if his audio's not working.
yeah. He's come to me before for AI stuff or for 3D modeling stuff, and I'll have to deal with that later. Um, but back to this, I do like some of the designs of it, but I would not, in good favor, um, I would not recreate this. It's very muddy. Is the word I'm going to use. Um, the mechanical pieces make no sense whatsoever. Like why is it this like right here? Why is it blurry? If this is 3D modeled, why is that blurry? You can see that there's an after image over an image over an image. Like what is this? It makes there's no. That's where the AI has a problem.
I don't think that's got anything to do with the fact that it's AI. I think that's got something to do with it's not a high res image. It's a low res image because it's on the web.
But if you were
Because you want the page to load fast,
if you were handing this into your boss though,
it would be high res.
you would hope
But
the fuck it
but you're
is.
talking a really big file then, right? I mean, like you did. Like
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
high
Well,
res
I mean,
art.
here, let's pull up ZBrush really quick. Let's see if I can crash the stream.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh no, I'm not. So,
but like, I mean, so like on Reddit though, like when you see people do like pictures of like for desktop backgrounds on your computer, they usually give you a low res version of the picture, and then they give you a link to click for the high res download. And the high res download is so big that if you put that as the picture that you wanted to show everybody, it would take forever for the page to load. So they always give you the low res one for a preview, and you download the high res one separately. And I think that's what you're looking at there, is that's just the low res. Here's my picture. And if someone said, "Hey man, I really like this. Can I get the the high res?" They probably have a very very big detailed picture of it.
Give me a second here. All right. So we all know Cthulhu. Cthulhu is a very awesome piece, both from top to bottom. If we just look at the polyfill, that's just the head alone, the polyfill right there. So that right there, you're talking several millions of polys. There's actually just in the head alone 4.35 million polygons just in the head. My computer's feeling the weight of it too because I can hear it fucking winding up. These little space or these little pieces on the back, that's 34,000 polys right there. Just those little spinals. So 8.4 million just for the body. In total, there's 13.17 million polys overall for the entire piece. So what was the question again, Fluff? Because I got lost in trying to express
saying
this.
that the picture is probably a low res version of that picture, which is why when you blew it up, it got a little grainy. The one they put.
No, he was talking about how it's actually like the edge lines are blurred.
Right.
Yeah, that's when he zoomed in.
It's not grainy. It's outright blurred.
No,
on
you
one
can
side,
see it.
and the other side's
Watch,
not.
I won't even click on it. You can
the
see a mirage
blurred.
right where my mouse is. If you can see it, there is a mirage, and I'll open it up in a bigger picture. And I'm not going to zoom.
No,
you can see a fade.
I'll zoom in.
Okay, you want me to zoom in? I'll zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in.
Let's talk about this. What is that after image that seems like a blown up outline? You can see the pauldron here. See, that's where you can start to see that it's generated art.
Is that just shady work?
It is.
I mean, it could just be a shady art. It could just be like not shady.
Well, see,
shoddy, I guess is the word.
It's trying to double. Like it's trying to double layer
the stuff in the back.
Well,
right.
But see, now you have to have it. You have to have an artist at the wheel that can say that don't look right, and he has to go back in and he has to erase that.
Yeah, but see, that could have been an artist, and then he just missed it, or he just didn't care enough to fix it.
No, if he's actually using
that's not necessarily saying it's AI because that's on there. I mean, that could just be someone who's lazy and didn't want to.
It is indicative, not conclusive.
Yeah,
I can automatically tell that this person's an AI art just because of the simple fact they're an AI artist. Because concept designer for Emily Love, Death, and Robots. Well, you're a concept artist. That's scary. And that's another thing, too, is a lot of concept artists, people are being called out for their AI generation. Like,
Right, and
what the
that
fuck
goes to
is
what
all
I was saying
this?
earlier.
What is all this? Why
Is
is there
it
so much wiring? Like, okay, if this is designed for a particular game, you can start to call out AI art. Now, you may say it's AI layers, but I would call I don't know. Yeah, Blender. I Blender has grown exponentially, and that's where a lot of people, especially like my AI friends that are not here, they're really into the factor that things like Maya are going to get left in the dust, which is a professional made program. But that's the problem, though, is the reason why they're professional made programs is they stray away from this type of shit because they're afraid of the copyright infringements that they themselves might infringe upon because it's not generated by them. See, I know for a fact that this Cthulhu is my Cthulhu. There is only one like it, and it is mine. Now, I did choose some referentorial pieces that gave me some inspiration. But this Cthulhu is still mine.
okay?
It
Yeah,
is
but
still my
if
design.
you but what I'm what they're saying is, or what those artists are doing is they're still taking bits and pieces from other reference materials and they're feeding it into an algorithm and seeing what the algorithm throws out. And when the algorithm throws out something that meets their criteria, they finalize it and bam, here you go.
Well,
Here's the concept piece.
I was just looking at something
So
too recently. Like Blender's gotten to a point.
my question was, do you use the AI art to generate the concept pieces and then go from there, or do you create the concept art like you did and then use the AI to finalize it and clean it up a little bit? Where you know what I mean?
See, I
What's
think that's particular to the artist in general. So every
Yeah,
artist's
but what
toolbox is going
about
to be
that?
different.
What about that makes that wrong? Which one of those is wrong? Because from my point of view, neither one is.
No. I
Correct.
get you. I get you.
That's my
So
view
if
on
I
that too.
generate enough I will say reference pieces because I don't think I would want to recreate something completely um that has been generated. You know how I am, dude. Like I like the design. I like getting the artistic bubbles in the brain going, the little chemical sparks of creativity going. So if I were to accumulate, we'll use the word, um, through AI art, a bunch of reference pieces, and then build off of that from those pieces, and I highlighted certain parts of those references, like for instance, the gold robot that we were looking. I like the chest. I like the head armor. I like the idea of the hair. Now I might turn to another AI piece where, okay, maybe I want the legs to be more cat-like. So I'd look up something of that piece, and then I would pull from each of those references, but I wouldn't use the exact
Yeah,
style
but that's the
elements
same
of the
thing. But
design.
that's the same thing that guy did.
He did to a degree, I think, and so forth. Um, the thing I
But
think with a lot of
I'm
artists,
saying where is the line that says that all those people criticizing artists for using AIs to either generate concept art or to finalize their rough art is wrong.
well, even then, I think people don't really realize too is that like in these programs they've become so sophisticated too. For instance, I can put in plugins that would tell ZBrush to, clean up hidden polys that I don't see or I'm not willing to see, and it may correct them to a certain degree. For instance, most art generated programs are programmed, if you think about it, in an artificial way anyway. So like for example, I could crunch down the polys of Cthulhu, an example, right? We said what, 13 point something million polys. I could use what's called remesher, which then look at, sorry looks at the art piece and then would scale it down depending on how many polys. Like let's say I wanted it to go from 13 million polys to a couple 100,000 polys, and I can target that specifically and then hit the remesh button, and the AI program that was with the algorithm that it's detected would scan through that and then spit out, oh, hey, here's your polygon count. How's this look? And then if I don't like it, I Control Z to go back, and then we try again, and I find a poly count that is contextual to me. Now that's built into the program by the company. They went through the process of creating that algorithm, which in a sense is kind of like AI, because it has to
That
look through and
absolutely
scan.
is AI.
It has to scan through your art piece and be like, okay, well, you've got all this bullshit. How much bullshit do you actually need? And
But that absolutely is using an artificial algorithm, which is
Mhm.
an artificial intelligence,
Right.
to generate elements of your artwork.
Right.
All those people bitching about, oh, AI art this, AI art
So-
that, is a mute argument, because 90%
What
is already algorithm based anyway.
All right,
what a
so
lot of people have a problem with is the art that is generated with prompts that then
Right. Like
borrows
Midjourney.
that
Midjourney is
then
a prompt.
yeah, there's a difference between using AI to help you fix your own creation versus
Oh,
doctoring up an AI creation.
right, like Midjourney. I want 80% illuminance. I want a futuristic car with big RGB style wheels that are aerodynamic. And that's how Midjourney
Right.
works. It goes off of a Q reference, as it's called.
I understand that, but what's the difference between using a Q reference and and generating a reference piece, and then finalizing that piece with your own, you know what I mean, with your mouse and keyboard, and going through with your brushes and all that stuff, and finalizing the piece, and using the algorithm on the other side of that scale to generate use your brush and generate a sketch art, and then using the AI that's built into your art software to smooth out the edges and change your textures and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's two sides of the same coin. It's the same argument.
it is so
I don't.
the text generated art is doesn't create, it borrows from existing sources
And
and meshes them together.
Like a kit,
that's what
like a kit
Typically
bash.
That's what the
speaking,
Wookiee
people do
does.
that too. Yeah,
That's
people
what
do
the
that
Wookiee
too.
does when he takes bits and pieces and mixes them together, and then goes, oh, I like this from this character, and I like this from this character, and I want to put some cat legs on it. You know what I'm saying? He uses reference materials too.
Yes, he's using reference material. He's not copying it pixel for pixel,
Right.
Right.
stretching it out.
And
For-
then altering it.
For instance, like
But he takes the reference image and he alters it based on his own interpretation. That's what the AI is doing.
The problem with what the AI is doing is it's not just getting the picture, it's getting the signature from the person. It's not editing
Yeah.
it in any, it is doing minor edits, but it's not doing contextual
I
edits.
think the issue is when AI pulls reference, it's just pulling the actual reference instead of create. When a person is using a reference piece, they're creating their piece original based on what they like about the reference piece, right? So it's not going to be a direct copy verbatim, but and the AI may or may not be a direct copy either, but it doesn't interpret it. It just copies it and then adjusts the image to what you wanted it to
absolutely
be.
does interpret. Hold on a second, Wookie. That's why I said show them our logo. Show them our logo and the AI generated logo stuff. Because the
I gotta be
AI
careful with some of that too.
absolutely interpreted our logo. Our logo is an atom. It's an atom symbol, and it interpreted it as tentacles and eyeballs. It absolutely interpreted.
Hang on. I'm pulling it up. Gotta give me a fucking minute. Picky. So I went with a cybernetic kind of feel.
So it looks like a head.
I do. It is. I do have my own particular AI generator. I use it for only stuff that I create. So I do not build it off other people's stuff. I know that it could possibly yield from other people's creativity, hence why I do not post it anywhere in my artistic space. Let's keep it professional, because I think that would even please Thomas, because I understand Thomas has, and I'm an artist myself. For all I know, this is pulling something from fucking whoever, My Hero Academia. I don't care. I'm just using it as reference. But this is something that I use or pulled from my AI generated images by plugging in our logo, which is right. Fuck all this shit. Get away. My AI logo. We eventually got to a point where, like, yeah, it was as Boo is saying, we created very weird and very disturbing tentacle monsters from our logo. I don't ever want to see this stuff in my dreams because it's gonna scare the shit out of me.
But
So when
but
you go to
the
when you go to
point
our
is,
logo, when you go to our logo, and then you go tentacle monster, I
right,
don't scream
our
hentai.
right, the AI interpreted our atomic symbol as a tentacle monster with eyeballs and
Oh,
egg
tentacle
egg
monster. Show me the tentacle
sacs.
monster again. I want to see it.
Oh
Where's
God.
the egg sacs
Egg sacs. Hang on. I got you.
and the
Tentacle
suckers?
monster. Okay, so our logo. You see it?
Yep.
Tentacle monster. Our logo. Tentacle monster.
It's not a tentacle monster.
Oh no.
Oh no, it gets worse. Here, hang on, hang on. Let me get the actual eyeball one. That one? There you go. Tentacle monster. But see, it lost some of the schematics of
It
the
lost
original
an eye.
piece. It lost it lost
It
it
did lose an
lost
eyeball.
it lost an
Right.
atom. It lost
It
one of the
lost one of the
atoms.
electrons.
Electrons. So this is
But
ridiculous.
it has little sucker, some of them had actual like suckers on the arms of you know what I mean, on the electron field.
Okay, there you go. Static image.
Just, I mean, you can literally go through the pictures on
Yeah.
Discord, dude. Just open up Discord.
The problem I have with AI is the same problem I have with any other direct copying of other people's art. I don't like it when, because several years back, some T-shirts that Walmart had
This makes no
literally
sense.
stole from a picture online a scroll that a friend of mine hand scribed and illuminated. Took a piece of that and had it on one of their T-shirts.
There you go, Boo.
Okay, well that's a direct
Yeah, but that's
ripoff.
not.
But
Yeah, that's
And
direct
it's the
ripoff.
same. It is the same type of
Right.
thing
What
when the
I'm
AI
saying
does
is,
it.
what I'm saying is that
And it-
the AIs don't necessarily do that. They
Right.
still interpret
Mm-hmm.
from the original
I have seen some that are one-to-one.
You
can
may have
overlay.
seen some that are one-to-one, but the fact of the
Right,
matter
but like
is
for
the
instance,
AI itself normally does not do that.
when the Wookiee only uses 10% AI alteration, it looks almost identical. It just cleans up the edges a little bit. But when he uses a 90%, you get tentacle fucking monster.
Mhm.
Or you get, if you plug in the cybernetic stuff, you get a whole like cybernetic head or a cybernetic body that's completely different.
If you can recognize the original piece in it and can tell you exactly where it came from, that's where the problem is. Period.
If it's I don't quite see it that way. I would see it as a case by case basis, though, because I've seen some people claim you stole my stuff, and it's just because the portrait angle and all that is the exact same as a picture, but everything else in the picture is not the same at all. Like,
Right, like
no.
so the tentacle monster thing,
No,
I would
I've
not.
been it.
I would
have seen-
not.
You
I
can.
can recognize it as being based on our logo. but it's a fucking tentacle monster. It's got a fucking eyeball and little sucker things on the electron shells, and it's a fucking tentacle monster.
What I'm saying is I have seen AI art that you can overlay with the original and not and tell exactly where it came from.
I mean, I've seen people do
You can
that
do
too.
a
What's your
one-to-one
point?
overlay.
Right, and I understand. I've seen that too, and I understand that, and that's why I say that within the Wookiee's AI, he's
I
able to reduce the amount of alteration.
my problem is that it is too easy to use for dishonest purposes.
True.
And I can
And
agree with that. I can agree
and
with that.
I
needs
can
to
I
be
think
Now,
agree
we
with
thankfully,
we
regulated
all can agree
thankfully,
with
and
that.
needs to
thank
be regulated and the
I
laws need to be in place
well, like
to cover
I think in this case, I think Thomas would be more accepting of like because I could tell Thomas, hey, this is my generated piece.
it.
I
And
plugged in
yeah,
my generated piece into the AI generator. This is
your
mine.
original art that you tinkered with, that's fine.
Right. But if I'm saying, hey, I took this dude's piece that looks like Legend of Zelda and I regenerated it and it's my art piece now. Thomas would probably
Right.
be telling me, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. So what if they were to, for instance, add more than a 10%
The problem is
AI
there
influence?
the problem is there are no regulations in place to adequately protect artists from theft.
Right, but hold on. In copyright law, as long as something is altered by 10% or more, it's not considered the original piece.
correct.
Now, Wookiee can plug in anything and set it to 10%, and it'll look very, very similar, but it's still 10% difference. It would be almost identical. He did it with our
It
with our
I
logo.
I consider that sort of thing without the consent of the original artist to be theft, and most artists consider that to be theft.
But legally, if it's 10% alteration,
If a
it is
court can
not.
if a court can consider it theft, then it needs to be regulated. If there is a chance that it can be used illicitly, it needs to be regulated. There needs to be some
Copyright is regulated.
there needs to be something in place to protect the artist and know who to sue if there is infringement.
Yep.
Right,
Because right
and
now,
the
it is
law is
very
10%.
ambiguous. It
No,
is
the law is 10%.
if
The law is
when
10%.
shit
Yeah.
happens, it's very ambiguous who gets in trouble. Because is it the artist? Is it the person who puts the text prompt in? Is it the person who developed the AI? Is who is it that
It
gets
would be
that
the
is in
person that put the text prompts in, but yeah.
Right, the person who actually
because it
no, it would be the person that actually distributed the altered image. That's
If it is
that's
if it is different
legal
than the person
precedent.
that did the text
No,
prompts,
legal
yeah.
legal precedent right now is the person who distributes it for to the to for whatever purpose, whether it be to the public or for profit or whatever. Whoever distributed the art is the person they go after.
but it is too difficult to figure out who is at fault currently, and there's a whole bunch of legal ambiguities and
Well,
besides the fact that AI art can't be can't be copyrighted
eh,
because it was not the way copyright is written, it has to be created by a person. Just like those pictures of the that were taken by the
yeah,
monkeys.
yes, but if
Hang
there,
hang on, please.
Calm
Just like
down.
those pictures taken by the monkeys cannot be copyrighted by the owner of the camera who handed the camera to the monkey.
I understand what
The
you're
the
saying.
person who punched the prompts in does not own a copyright on those pictures that are created by the AI. No one owns a copyright on those pictures. So therefore, who do you go after? Because normally you would go after whoever tried to claim a copyright on your stuff.
But if they're not claiming a copyright on it,
That's the problem. They're still profiting off of your work.
If they alter it, they're not.
correct.
If they
So-
alter it, trimming it does not count as altering it.
So one of
Trimming it does not.
No,
one of my
So-
points. One of my points.
like what I said earlier, you could take a 1-to-1, no other than changing the scale, overlay, boom, no, not changing the stretch, not changing anything else, just changing the purport, taking it from, say, a 10x10 down to a 1x1, and overlay it straight over the original picture. Stretching it does not count as altering.
No, scaling something does not count as altering. No.
You
But
could
if you
if you adjust the scale, overlay 1-to-1
Okay,
with the original work.
scale and stretching are two different things.
I understand that.
But if
It was not
if you're
stretched, it was just expanded or contracted.
right, so scaling does not apply. But if you were to take, like, for instance, our logo image, and you were to stretch it out 30% horizontally and have it be an oval shape, now you have altered that by 30% by stretching it. It's not a new image, but it is an altered image from the original.
Right. What I'm saying is
You
there's too much of the AI generated art out there that is 1-to-1 theft of other people's property.
Yeah, but that's different. That's not to. It's not
And
the AI to blame for that one.
Well,
Yes,
there's
it is,
also there's
because
also
it's
like
the AI. It is the data that has been input into the AI is taken from other people. The data used to teach that AI, because that's what it uses, is that it only has as much information as it is given. It is given copyrighted material to learn from. It then uses that information and does not alter it other than cropping or scaling.
Okay.
But
Wookie,
the vast
can you
majority of the time, the AI will be
can you
altering
take
it, though.
can
The
you
vast
take our
majority of the time.
logo on the stream and do a 10% alteration?
I'm not saying
Not-
that it
I'm-
doesn't
I'm not-
happen
I can't
both
because it's through
ways.
my phone.
But the
and
problem
I'm not,
is,
I would
it
have
is
I would have
so, it
generated
is
them
so
through Discord.
pervasive in
Well,
that the AI developers are using copyrighted material to teach their AIs.
Right, but the
That-
AI.
Well, I think the biggest
that
thing
it
is
is
like one of
it
the
is
points.
stealing property from other people without their consent.
Yeah, but it's okay
So,
to use
and
other
then-
people.
hang on.
But
It
if it's
is-
okay to use other people's material as
Can I
reference,
finish my goddamn sentence?
I'm a beer person.
Please.
So let's,
You keep interrupting me, Boo. I'm sorry.
You know,
I pause to breathe and you interrupt me. The AI, the programmers of the AIs are taking so much copyrighted material to teach their AIs that it can't be. It would bog down the entire legal system filing lawsuits for infringement.
I'm just seeing
It
how much
is
money I can get delivering
pervasive
Chelsea. I'm on number 5 of 10.
in the community that
Oh,
is
but I
being
see that's on
the data is
thing.
that's being used is copyrighted material, and then the AIs,
All right.
because that's the data sets they're given,
I don't really want
they use that copyrighted material without the permission of the owners. The programmers are using it without the consent of the owners to teach the AIs,
Mhm.
yes.
which is a commercial use of the data.
Right. I think that leads into one of my
Okay.
points. One of my points was, what are some of the potential drawbacks of AI generated art? Some of the potential drawbacks is like lack of originality, ethical consideration, and
Right.
one of the big ones was potential job displacement. The lack of originality comes from where major concerns is that the AI generated art may lack uniqueness or personal touch of a human creativity. So, for example, like me, I like to add my own style. I have my own style. I have my own works. Where the AI generation has a lacking expectation of that because it just throws a bunch of shit together. But artists, I would say artists should strive to use a balance of AI assistance, but in only a creative vision to maintain originality, not completely cut copy paste as if they're a printer. That
Right,
that's
and
not
that's
fair because then it leads into ethical consideration for the other
right, but it's
artists
not fair to say that the
around.
AI is just copying and pasting when it does mesh it with other pieces and
It
it does alter the original design by 10, 15, 20%, even though a certain element is, looks almost identical or is identical, but it's
well,
combined with other stuff.
yes and no, because it breaks on the ownership, copyright, and fair use, right? So, for example, if
Right.
you have a tattoo artist, you have a tattoo artist go over and says, "Hey, Bill, I want to blast some ink on you." All right, cool. You only probably will ever have that artist blast that ink or that fix up that tattoo ever, unless there for some forsaken fucking reason you can't get in touch with that artist or that artist moves away.
Well,
Then
perfect example,
you might seek
my
minds.
leg tattoo,
Right,
my tree was
you
done by an artist, and that artist is now passed.
right. So in order to touch it up, you might, in good
I
faith, be
have to
like,
go
"Look, I
to
don't need you to
a different
recreate.
artist.
I don't need you to recreate this. I just need you to brighten it up." Okay, cool. Now, if you were to say, "Hey, I had this artist draw this up, but I need you to blast it," did you take away from the original artist making that piece? I would say yes, because he
Right,
probably had the
because
mindset
they're
that he
gonna
was going to do the work.
they're gonna all well. That's the thing is that I have an artist that's going to do a not necessarily a recreation, but uh
Touch up.
a touch up on my tattoo. In the process of doing the touch up, he's going to change certain elements of my
Now,
tattoo, and in his own style and with his own
Mhm.
artistic, you know what I mean, eye on it.
Yeah.
So that it's going to change a little bit, and the AIs do that already. Now, if the person behind the keyboard literally is just copying and pasting images to generate a piece of artwork, that's not using the AI. The AI specifically alters stuff and adds it together makes its own interpretation of the reference material. That's the point of the AI. If all you wanted to do as an artist was to cut, copy, and paste, there's much easier there's software out there to do that called Photoshop. You know what I mean? You don't need the AI to generate a a a new interpretation of an existing reference material. And that's where I think the the argument gets fuzzy, because is it a true AI piece, or is it just a cut, copy, paste labeled as an AI? You know what I mean? Or filtered through an AI program, but only using, they put that image, they overlaid that image onto their artwork without using the AI's altering algorithm.
Well, for example, in MySpace, I think, and I think Thomas would agree with me, as long as the original artist, so let's say me and Ruler had this conversation just recently too. He doesn't like Elite Dangerous, and that's okay for him to say. But the reason why he doesn't like Elite Dangerous is there's much like BattleTech and Megamech, there's a lot of mechs and there's a lot of variances of mechs, right? There's different chassis, there's different builds, there's different styles, heights, tonnages, so on and so forth. Elite Dangerous, for the game that it is, has not really a whole lot of ships. I mean, yeah, 52 ships is quite a bit for most people, but some of them kind of show various similarities. Like a Cobra, a Sidewinder looks like. Hang on,
Yeah.
hang on. A Sidewinder looks more like a Cobra, and then so the Viper and the Viper Mark IV, that's just an upgrade. So on and so forth. The Clipper Cutter and whatever Courier, not the Courier, but yeah, so on and so forth. Where if, for example, in a game art space, if the team of game designers make an art piece to levy off of. So, for instance, I could see AI helping, like the game art industry, for instance, having better UV mapping. Every artist you ever talk to that deals with game art hates UV mapping because to texturally take apart a model to where the textures will flow evenly across the actual character, the model, whatever the item may be, tends to sometimes be a pain in the ass. Just doing humans example. Hang on, humans example.
Right. Perfect
So,
example. Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
The model in the game is similar, but certain alterations had to be made to make it work in the game environment.
Right. That's a problem with hardware being able to process that much information. That's where that levy is off of. But for example, like having iterations of, like Harold Ruler was explaining, having more iterations of something would be much better. So like if you had like, okay, this is our design look, we had the design team draw this style, this look, let's plug it into the AI programmer, but it's only going to pull from our information, and we want to pump out, let's say, 6 different variances from these 6 different dudes. Okay, cool. We have enough, we have enough reference pieces to pull from it. I think in that retrospect, it would be acceptable as long as the game design company is only yielding from their referential pieces. Would you be okay with that, Theismann?
Yes, that kind of thing is fine. The
Right.
problem is the problem is there is tracking all of the shit down that's out there.
Right. That becomes a problem too. So,
Well, yeah, I mean the data pool being saturated.
Well, yeah,
with,
because
with,
everyone out there using certain AIs, and then which AI do you use? That's another problem too, because each AI responds and reacts and works differently from the next
Very
one.
differently.
And they've all got different data sets that they're working
Right.
from.
Right. And then how are you plugging those AIs in? So, for example, Blender has really taken on the fact of taking ChatGPT and for Ruler just put it to me and it reminded me of some stuff. Blender is an open source program that anyone and their mama can use. Very powerful. It's a great tool to put in an artist's tool set. The only problem is that with it, it's a lot of its learning curve is that you're learning a lot of it. There's a lot out there, but then at the same time, there's not a lot out there. So it's a bunch of trial and error, which I think in another form, that's where artists have an issue with it as well too, is because what have I been doing for the last 2 years? If someone like Ruler comes up and he's like, bam, I got something in 5 minutes. Well, fuck you, dude. That you don't even know the hardships of going through the bare mind basics of what it takes to 3D model. So for 3D modeling,
right,
there's phases to modeling. There's the block out. There is the refinement. There is the detailing, there is the rendering, and then there's the final processing phase to actually bring it to presentation.
Yeah, but so.
But how could you yield?
Does a car designer get to be pissed off when someone just buys a car used?
Mm-hmm.
You're not creating something from something else, though.
See, that's totally backwards, I think, in a sense, because a used car is a used car. That's
you're comparing apples and oranges.
See, if you said Ford is gonna remake, I don't know, the Mach 3, but make it look more like the Ford Focus, I'm pretty sure the designers would then be like, wait, what the fuck?
No. So perfect example, Shelby.
Okay, Shelby Cobra. All right, on the same page. Keep going.
Okay, so Ford makes a Cobra Mustang, and
They
then
do.
Shelby comes along. Shelby comes along, and oh wait, makes a Cobra Mustang. They didn't design. They didn't design it originally. Ford designed it. Went through all the trouble of going through the design process, going through the fucking testing process, the prototyping, all that stuff. And Shelby just took their designs and altered it a little bit and said,
No,
okay, here's a new
but
one.
the Shelby Mustangs, Shelby was getting a cut.
Mustang Ford was getting a cut.
The point that I'm making is do the designers at Ford get to be butthurt if Shelby comes along and does it a little bit better or does it a little bit easier?
Probably behind closed doors. Yeah.
Butthurt, but the people that are making the decisions, no, because they're making money off of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if the legality of it is that
You got
if Shelby's
investors,
allowed to do it,
you
if
gotta
Ford
realize-
allows them to do it, then yeah, the designers can be salty. But if they have permission from the company to do it, then there's no legal ramifications.
It goes into bigger things too. There's investors. Now you're going out of the scope of this. You're going into investors, contractors, whoever has rights to it.
Just the designers.
No.
Okay, the designers were already paid for their designs. They were already paid for their prototyping.
Well,
they make a set
hang
salary.
Hang
bam,
on.
Done.
Stop. Hang on. What kind of designer was he? Was he contract? Was he freelance? Was he signed on his? No, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
It does not matter because the designers don't own anything. Ford does.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It does matter in a sense too, because so once he signs away and he says, "Hey Ford, I sold this to you," his hands are washed. He can't be salty about it. He moves on to the next project.
He can be salty, but he can't do anything about it.
Right, because he already sold the rights to his design.
And that's what I'm saying is if you're a game developer or a game artist and you develop a certain asset for a game and then someone comes along and takes your asset and doctors it through an AI in 5 minutes and then reproduces it, you as the designer you design something for the game company, for the game producer.
It's the game company that owns it, yeah.
Right. And the game company doesn't care if somebody, doesn't.
It doesn't. I have to.
The artist
I have to walk into that field knowing this. I have to walk into that field knowing that I can be undermined by the next guy that, even though I've created this super cool character that's probably all the girls and boys want to Comic-Con at, or dress up as at Comic-Con, I can know that I could be undermined by the guy that walks in with 5-minute AI.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know what? At that point, I then have to rinse my hands of it and say, okay, there's always another piece. Because,
that negates the ability of the original artist who spent endless hours generating this art.
There's a little caveat. There's a little caveat. There's a little caveat to that too. Now, the company comes to that artist that was the AI generated artist, right? Reproduce it and do it again. What? Reproduce it and do it again. What?
Okay, that's the company's call.
Right, yeah, but wait, you're not really getting it. Can that artist that AI generated that reperform? See, that's where sometimes it's questioned that no, they cannot. Because it's sometimes if they're able to, yes. But I don't think in the generation age that we've been talking about with the AI that we have now, I don't think it still will, because there's still going to be.
The market will take care of itself if they can't reproduce their art.
I agree with.
The market will take care of itself. Because the company comes back to you and says, okay, reproduce this, and when they can't reproduce it, they don't get paid. The market just took care of itself.
Right.
They'll go and find somebody who can.
Right. They'll go back to the original guy.
Original artist.
Hey, can you create this? Yes, actually, I fucking can. I already had it the original time. Oh, okay, what do you got?
Right, but
can you build off of this? I can build off of it, but it's going to go against my ethical. But in order to collect a fucking paycheck, I will. Yes, I would not say no to a paycheck.
But
it's let's be honest.
Right, but it's in its current state.
You heard it here. He can
Right, and
be
it's trying to
paid
say
by.
it's a self-correcting market in
No,
its
if you
current
if you
state
if you
because
bring an AI
it's not
generated no,
reproducible.
hold up. As a 3D modeler, if you come to me with 3D AI art, I'm gonna probably bitch at you that you're coming at me with 3D AI art. But am I gonna create it if you throw a fucking $1,000 paycheck in front of my face? I mean, that's kind of hard to say no to. In today's market, that's really hard to say no to. I might sit down and say, hey, I like this piece, but I see that there are some flaws here. Can we recorrect these flaws and make it to where it would be corrected and
Right,
be
well,
an original piece?
that's your prerogative as the artist, and if they say no, we need to keep those, then you don't get
Then-
paid, and they find someone who can.
Right. Or I just say, okay, no, well, you negotiate that. That's part of negotiating the contract with the actual project.
That is true.
And exactly, that's what
It's
makes
it's like this couch right here. This couch, for all we know, is by IKEA, and the blocking, the detailing, the texturing, rendering, post processing. This could have been generated by AI art. I don't give a fuck if someone says, "Hey, I want you to recreate the scene." If you're showing the post processing scene, then yeah, okay, I'm going to go through the blocking out. Okay, all right, this needs to look like this. All right, detail, let's go like this. All right, texturing. Okay, that's a couch. What's this couch made of? Oh, wait, we want it to be, suede leather or fucking fox leather. All right, give me a minute. All right, rendering the lighting aspect to, generate the light to look in the room and so on and so forth. And then I finally get the finished project, and then they're like, oh, hey, cool, this looks awesome. Can you do this for like a whole roomscape that's, 12 by 12? I mean, yeah, I can. It's just going to take some time. Where an AI generated artist, he might be able to, that's the thing, is he might be able to plot it in, but even with AI generated art, I think there's going to be some problems. Like AI generated art, like if you look here on the blocking out phase, those are bevels on that cube. Could AI art perfectly mask that? Possibly. I don't know. It could get muddied, and you have to still have someone behind the joystick, behind the computer, still going in and making sure everything looks correct. Because if things look bad, that texture is going to look like shit when you get to the texturing portion and then the rendering portion.
I understand that, and that's where I don't think that people are going to be like, the 3D artists and stuff, and the 3D art industry is going to lose anything by introducing AI to it.
No,
I don't think so, because of the fact that there always has to be somebody there to clean it up or alter it a little, do this and tweak that, and okay, it only takes so much to do so, but the AI does the bulk work, and then the artist comes in and does the cleanup. And that's where my question earlier comes across is there a fundamental difference between using the AI to generate the basic components and then having somebody come in and finalize, or the other way around, having somebody else create the basic stuff and then generate, use the AI to generate the finalization? Either way, there's still going to be human hands involved.
Very much so.
The industry is still going to require human involvement, and that's the case for AI in any industry, whether it be musical art, whether it be IT applications, whether it be engineering, whether it be whatever the industry that they're applying the AI to. There's still going to need to be human involvement. It's just a tool to simplify the process for the human being.
Essentially, for the gaming industry, is it going to completely upturn the gaming industry? Probably not. Will they have to adapt with it? Definitely.
Well, no.
Right.
No. Hold. No. Are they willing to adapt? Because then you have to come into this space of, okay, these companies.
It's not going to be willingness to adapt. You're either going to die if you're going to
True.
if you don't.
Yes and no. Hang on. Yes and no.
For art generation, if AI becomes the standard tool instead of Maya or whatever other Photoshop or whatever you're using, AutoCAD, in whatever industry, whatever software you're using, any kind of software application, if AI becomes the standard tool for that industry, you're gonna have to adapt or you're gonna fall to the wayside.
Yeah,
Well, here's
you are.
another.
Well, the thing is AI is here. That's
Yeah,
the biggest thing. Is
it's not
AI is
going
here,
away,
and it's not
and
going
it's not
away.
going away.
It's not going away. It's not gonna stop. It's not. It's just gonna grow, and it's like when you tell a kid no, it's still gonna fucking do it.
But another good. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't done. The thing is that first, before AI can be used by these bigger companies, even though many of the artists may see it as a tool they could use, depending on their ethical, you got to remember, you're talking about human. And
right. And
so
that goes to the copyright and everything. Right.
Thomas's portion in this, if we can use Thomas, can I use you as an example?
Sure.
Okay,
No.
in Thomas's standpoint, he says "fuck no" with a big bird. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty accurate to that, right, Theismann?
Fuck no to
AI art in general. I'm pretty sure it depends. I think it would be situational, but your overall standpoint would probably be fuck no because
Sounded
of
like
the
you were against
the
overall.
possibility of it yielding art from
abuse.
art abuse.
I am leery of AI art at this time. Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, where someone else under the retrospect, an artist like, for instance, we have Drew that I know. 90% of his Blender stuff is used by using AI art, either references and or so on and so forth. I don't know the whole details of it. I just know that he uses it. So, depending on the ethics of the person in question, the company has to come to a final dictation of if they're going to use it or not. Now, I agree with Ruler and Boo. They got to eventually come to a decision. Are we using this or are we not using this? If we don't use it, we're going to fall in the dust and die off. If we do use it, we could cut down creativity and put our assets more towards things that actually need to be done in the game design generation path. So instead of this shit of, oh, well, here's our chart and how we're going to build out this game. Oh, something came up and we fell behind. Oh, no. So it depends, and that strictly depends on legalities. Overall, where does AI start and end in a legal, contextual space? Where does it stand? Because if it in law, if it stands as, oh, that copyright infringement, every fucking game company out there is going to put their hands up. Fuck no. Because now we have to answer to someone, where did this fucking come from? I don't want to look over every fucking piece, pixel, and everything on this piece before it goes down the pipeline. Because if we can't reference towards it back to something that we own, we're fucked. Because someone could come at us and be like, hey, that's my art piece. I'm going to fucking sue you for $500,000. Because you made fucking X amount of million on my art piece. Fuck you. Versus if legal law says, okay, you can use this, but either A, it needs to be in a reference, it has to be in a reference piece and using only off of a reference piece, or B, it has to have some implication of alteration from the original aspect.
Right, and that's where
that's it's very gray, very gray.
And is right. There room in that bottom 10%? Is there abuse? Yes,
but
there absolutely is.
How are you going to
every industry?
How are you going to dictate that 10% though?
Because
in AI art, how are you going to dictate? Are you going to pre-program it to where it can only pull 10%, give a 10% yield? Are you going to give that up to the user and eventually have a possibility of potential for infringement?
That's on the legality end. You could easily mandate all the AI generators to be a minimum of 10% variability. Yeah.
Thank you,
I
Theismann.
mean, I understand what Theismann's saying, and yes, there is abuse, and yes, abuse is the biggest concern when it comes to
Oh yeah.
using AI, and AI referencing existing data pools. Absolutely,
Mhm.
that is the biggest concern with AI. However, if something is altered by 10%, that falls on, that's covered under current existing copyright law,
Mhm.
and anybody that does abide by that should be legally allowed to profit from it. That's the current law. If you don't agree with 10% and you think it should be 25, I mean, I honestly, I think 25% would be better, because that's a noticeable difference. Sometimes anything, even close to 10% can be considered an exact, you know what I mean, or near to exact replication. I
Well,
just I
go ahead.
I
Sorry.
I I I think that the laws that already exist as far as copyright
Ooh, shit.
and
Cover it.
trademark
Or
Yeah.
louder shit. Oops.
already cover that. There's already a legal precedent for copyright law. And as far as like game companies and game developers um, using reference materials, and as long as that reference material is used in a context that is more than 10% altered, then it shouldn't be an issue.
I
They already do that.
I would rather use it much like the YouTube video I'm putting up right now. Um, the
That's a
AI.
half-hour video, though.
I'm gonna speed through it. Relax. So I'm trying to show it for a particular reason. Now he used his Wacom tablet as a photo bash. This is the actual photo bash speed paint, and he's using portions of the original image of his Wacom tablet from Wacom to create this bazaar. I much like AI art is in a sense. This is really loud. I want to mute that. Um, is in a sense photo bashing. I feel,
It
but
absolutely is.
but it's still in some spaces it is a form of theft upon that of an original artist. So like if someone were to take Cthulhu, now mind you, if they like my piece, okay, cool, I get it. I mean, I'm not the greatest artist, and I know that, but I'm growing every single day. Every single day I strive to be better. Where
Okay, so here's
this
my
dude's photo bashing, you can still see the Wacom tablet right there, but we'll skip ahead, and
right, but
you can't
he
see
took elements.
you can't see those elements no more. Now he probably took some pictures of people that have on the internet of like street like just basically on the internet either exploring, and he's photo bashing it. Now he's using references to build an image. Now this in the industry is acceptable.
Well, yeah, because this is
It's a
multiple references being spliced together.
Well,
right
it said at the
recreated
beginning he's using
recreated
stock photos.
right recreated and layered.
Yeah, he's using stock images too.
Right, and he's using
Right.
stock images, which is fair, but as I think if AI generated art pieces were built or used more in this space, like I was saying, I
So
like the chest, I like the chest of the head, the hair.
one thing with stock images, those stock images are still owned by a
By
company,
right, owned by someone out
and
there that took the
still
images.
right, still owned. Those stock images are owned and still are copyrighted, which means if you use that stock image in something, you are supposed to pay that person for the use of that image,
Right,
Unless it's open source.
unless it's open source.
right.
But a stock image from, say, from one of the conglomerating companies
I get you.
that sells their images, or that sells the use of those images.
Mm-hmm.
If you if you use one of those images,
Mm-hmm.
you are
Without
supposed
license.
with if you're using it for your own use, your own personal use, not for commercial use. That's that is protected under fair use. If
Right.
you are using it for a commercial use, you are supposed to pay that company a fee, whatever it is that they're charging,
Mhm.
to use that image for your commercial use.
And see,
And they
See,
can
Right.
say,
hang
no,
on,
you
now
let him,
you-
let him,
can't
let him
use that
finish, let him
image.
finish, let him finish, let him finish, let him finish. Let Theismann finish, because
They can, and that company can say, no, you can't use it for that purpose.
right, I agree. Where
Right.
something like this,
Now,
it's
here,
not,
hold
it's
on,
not,
right here,
hang on,
right here
it's
in
not
the video.
necessarily
Hold on, I'm
commercial.
referencing the video we're watching.
Okay.
He is actually altering each
Every
one of
single
those
person,
each one of those people.
Derivative,
He's going through.
derivative.
He's
work.
not altering. He's just shrinking and
No, he's
just
actually
making size.
he's changing the colors. He's actually altering the
Derivative.
images.
That falls under derivative work and is still protected by copyright.
Mm.
I don't think so.
It's more than 10% change on this.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Changing the
it is.
color is
Completely changed coloring and everything.
changing color of someone's clothing is not more than 10%.
Yeah, it is.
Bullshit.
If
Well, no,
you-
hang on,
if you-
hang on. Hold on. Hold the phone. All right. So does everyone see this little Chinese dude? Stop it. Stop. All right. See the motorcycle that's right here where my mouse is? All right. You see the lady with the red hair right there? And we
Right.
see the little,
Yeah.
we see the guy that has the white t-shirt and he looks lily
Yeah.
white as fucking possibly can be. Watch what he does. Now, I agree with Fluffy, but you have to see the end project. Now, if you were to say that none of this was changed, I would say you have to look to the end project. Watch what he does just with this dude right here. So he goes in, he starts showing some fog, he's using some atmospheric effects. I can explain this, guys, to you. So he's using some dusting, he's using some layering, so he's changing the light aspect. He's darkening this up. She's not as bright, he's not as bright, he's now more of a tannish color. He comes in, he's starting to still add some lighting. He zeroes in his little brush right there. He's kind of pulling some colors right there. He pulled look, he added a little beanie, maybe some glasses or something. You can no longer see that dude's original face. So, and look, changing, he put a
completely
logo on the
changed
back of
image
her.
that person.
He gave him a beanie. Oh, he's got a mask on now. Now he's got a cloak
Yeah,
on. So that is, yes, more than 10%. Because you cannot
He's
tell the
altering each
original.
image.
You cannot. He's laid out a bunch of images. This is what's called photo bashing. It's an actual form of artwork that's used either for concept design, so on and so forth. It's even used in a professional space, even all the way up to gaming. As long as it cannot be like, okay, hey, where are we at? We're at 17 minutes. As long as we're not like, oh, hey, that's the original selling image for Wacom tablet. We started with this. This was the original image right here. Is that what he started with? If you were not watching, at 17 minutes, he is here. That is more than a 10% threshold. But let's continue. Let's see what happens. I'll jump 5 minutes.
How about the girl in the hold on? Can you go back to the girl with the brown coat and the white backpack on the right side?
That one changed more than 10%. I don't think the original
This girl
person had
right
a
here.
scarf, for example.
Which one? This girl?
So the girl.
Right. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Right. So watch what he does. Go ahead and advance.
Well, I can speed it up too. We don't want to sit through all this. We're already at 3 hours, and I was not meaning for it to take this long. But we knew this is a big talk. Well, no, you got to realize this impacts the world we live in. And
right,
I think
right
as an
here,
artist,
he's just sizing and manipulating the individual images.
Right.
But then once he sets them all out and in position, he then begins to alter each one of them individually.
Right.
So
hang on.
He
sizes her. Yeah. Hang on.
I don't remember exactly where he changes.
Okay, he positions her.
Resize that person. Yeah.
Changes the color. Now he's creating the shadows by using the basis of them and using some light leveling. I can explain most of this. I don't do it in this detail, but I watched enough of it to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he completely erases her. He says, "No, I don't like her."
Right, the chick in front. No, I'm talking about the chick with the white.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see it very soon
The right
because I
side,
think
It's at
that's the next
it's at
version he
1 it's
modifies.
at 1.50%.
Right. So he does the guy facing away first. He puts
Right.
a
Yeah.
hoodie on him,
Back here, I'm not
and he
gonna lie.
changes. He fills in the white shirt, and he changes that image. And then he comes over to the other people, and the chick in the pink. He changes
So
her
he
shirt
gives her like a
color.
little art bar. He goes for like a more of an
Right,
army
Gives her a
camo.
pink
Then he
scarf.
goes with the girl.
No, it's a scarf. You'll see it. The scarf.
Right, and he completely
Yes,
he alters each image more than 10%, man. And
Yeah.
it's even though he's just on some of them he's just changing the colors and the color scheme that each
Yeah.
person is
They are
wearing.
painted.
They're being altered. And that's where with the copyright issue, if the image is altered by more than 10%, it qualifies as being altered. Even if it's just color. Now, I understand that. I understand that ethically, you know what I mean. Morally speaking,
if you tell me I can take a picture of Optimus Prime and change him from red and blue to green and yellow, I'm now original. That's bullshit.
Well, see, hang on. We'll pause. Time out. Time out. Time out.
Color fill, or are you actually painting it in
Time
yourself?
out.
Does
Well,
it matter if I'm just changing the color?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does, because it change when you're painting it in yourself and hand painting it that way. You're actually changing some of the lines and you're altering the image.
right.
No.
You're manually altering that image, and that's what the AI. Some of the AI stuff does. Is it does the AI does exactly what this guy is doing. It just does it in right now. You know what I mean? It like the Wookiee says, it's just kind of like kit bashing together, but it's still
When looked all together, it is a unique piece on its.
on its own merit, so to speak. Like right there, he expanded her collar,
Removed the scarf. Yeah.
right? Added a little more definition to the hood. You know what I mean? Added and thickened up the line on the purse. You know what I mean? Now he's changing the shades. Like he is altering all aspects of that. You know what I mean? He's altering more than 10% of that image. Now, whether you agree with it ethically,
right. That's where it becomes. That's where I said it becomes. Is this an ethical? Is this an ethical? Is this an ethical violation as an artist, or is this just some artists would say no, some artists would say yes. I would say this becomes potentially original piece because of the design, the amount of changes and alteration that are done into this. Because by the time let's just buzz right through this. Hang on, where's the end process? Right about there. That is not the original image. Even if you said the tablet is not the original image and the tablet was just built to pull off some of it.
Right, but it's not about the tablet being the image. It's about the individual elements.
Mm-hmm.
Because he draws in individual elements from many different sources and many different references, and then alters all of them just a little bit and rearranges them in a way that creates a unique piece. And that's exactly what the AI does. So saying that the AI is not creating original pieces.
Well, I think the AI would have a difficulty at this aspect. It would take many images.
It depends on how advanced the AI is.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so, like, for instance, the yellow mecha thing. Okay, yeah, it took a bunch of other stuff, and
Similar to what I was
it's got an artist signature at the bottom. Now, maybe that artist generated that piece using a bunch of different stuff, all bashed together, and then it took pieces from different stuff, bashed it all together, and then he signed it at the end. Is that an original piece? Technically,
I would say it is. Not even technically, I would say this is an original piece.
Right. It would
right.
be. It would be.
And it's not like he did this
piece.
it's not like he did this in a couple minutes. He literally says the whole process took 5 hours plus. Sped up to 30 minutes for viewing. He used the Wacom NTS Pro Paper Edition. Adobe Photoshop CS6. Jesus, that's fucking forever ago. Well, 2017. That makes sense. Some stock photos from Photo Bash. So he does say, "Hey, I got the images from here."
Right,
So,
right. And if the AI is programmed to do exactly what this artist did by bashing all these images together and
then
changing
modifying
some,
each
modifying
aspect,
modifying all the aspects to create a new image, is that ethically wrong? Not really.
I don't think it is. No.
I can't consider it as being ethically wrong either. I mean, it's and that's where I say there's a difference between an AI generating something based on what the user types in and the level of
okay,
alteration.
here we go.
Whether you type in 10% or 40% or 90% alteration, that's on the artist. That's on the human in this calculation.
So he can listen
And
2 minutes. Jesus.
if you're getting images generated that are a 1-for-1 direct, fucking copy paste, that's on the person generating the art. That's
Correct.
That's abuse of the AI forum to to try and use pre-existing stuff and not generating an original piece. Whereas what most the AI is designed to do is to take all of that reference material and generate an original piece, just like these artists do.
Right. So
before-
we're getting close to we're well past 3 hours. Let's try to wrap this up in the next 30 minutes, okay? Because I'm pretty sure everyone's bored.
I'm getting ready. I gotta get ready to go, dude.
If you can let me do my next
that boring for you? That boring for you, Fluffy?
15, 20 minutes.
I mean,
It's beating a dead horse. I know that too. Yeah,
but it's I don't know. It's there's a lot.
Well, that's the biggest conversation most people have too. Is it's so much information that no one has the right answer.
I was going to say, I see this as a new tool for game designers and artists to use. Now, again, going on what Theismann's concerns are, that is purely on the person generating the art, not the AI itself. But yeah, it's just another tool. Like, for example, let's look at this isn't generating it itself, but let's say 3D printing for an example. 3D printing makes it a lot easier, whereas back in the day, everything had to be milled by hand.
Yeah,
right. As a tool, I think that it's acceptable to use as a tool to generate art. Does it use other reference material? Yes. Should that reference material be altered to fall in line with copyright law? Absolutely. But you don't need an AI to cut, copy, and paste. You need an AI to alter an image in a significant way. In a quickly and efficiently.
Hang on, Fluffy's trying to say something. Fluffy, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm watching this video, right, and I'm watching this guy grab other people's photos and then mesh them into his new photo or his new drawing or whatever. I guess it's a drawing or painting or whatever you want to call it, right?
It's a photo bash, but yes, I get what you're saying.
But if he was gonna sell it, I feel like he should have to pay for every photo he borrowed from. He should have to pay the person who owns that photo. Like, I've watched him grab photos from a gazillion different places to mesh into his thing, and
he's altering all of them.
He is absolutely altering them. I'm not arguing that part at all. He's absolutely altering them. I mean, he's if you didn't know where they came from, you would think they were original. But everyone he borrows, I feel like if he was selling this, they would all deserve a cut of the profit.
Well,
but the point is, how are you gonna ding him for
Oh, I
copyright when
see.
he's altering all of the images and
Because it's the
converting them
same.
into an original piece.
It's the same in music.
It's a
It doesn't.
collage.
It doesn't matter if
This
you
is like
borrow.
taking a single word.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
the same.
It's the same as sampling in music. If an artist pulls some, I don't care if it's a 3-second clip of a song, and they use
Hang
it in
on.
their own song, they have to credit the original artist,
Right,
and the
but they're
original
using,
artist is
but they're
paid
using
money.
it as in its original
on.
form.
No,
Hang
that
on,
is not how
stop.
sampling
Time-
works.
Time
Not
out.
always.
Time out. Time out. Let the wiki speak. Let the wiki speak.
They will change the speed on it.
Yeah, they pitch it,
Photo-
they pitch it, they speed it up, they slow it down, and in some cases you don't even know that it's a sample.
So let's get close to hang on. Let's get close to closing this out. So let me put this really quick. So this particular artist that everyone is watching, this is considered photo bashing. Photo bashing using copyrighted material isn't legal. Is not legal. You can transform the image.
He's robbing people.
And any photo.
No, it's saying it isn't legal. That's saying that what he's doing is wrong, Fluffy.
Right. I agree. It should be wrong.
You can transform the images to a point where they're completely unrecognizable, but even just the slightest part that remains unedited could give you legal problems. Now,
look,
hang on.
Hold on, wait. I don't want to argue the legality of this.
No. I get that.
All I'm saying is it could be 100% legal. All I'm saying is if he was gonna like sell this as if he was gonna sell it as a product, every piece he pulled from should get a cut of the profit, just like it is in music. If I sample a song and I create a hit song and I sell 10 million copies, I have to pay the original artist a cut because I borrowed some of their original content.
Right.
It should be the same in art. It should be all good to do so with permission. If the original artist gave him permission to use their photos, and they say, "Hey, yeah, you can use my photos. I want to cut," and he says, "I'll give you a cut of the profit."
Hang on.
Then it's all good. I don't have no problem with it at all. But
let's
just
do this.
To be able to do it and not have to give credit or any kind of reparation to the person you're pulling their original content from is wrong.
Hang on.
Your grenade launcher is not a good example because all of yours is. It is.
Well, no, I was going to ask Fluffy under
representative of, but it is you created that entirely from squares and rectangles and circles.
Right. I was going to say, would you guys, and in all fairness, be fair, would you say that this is in legal rights? I could be sued for this because I mean, I use these reference images in order to help with the design path of this. Now, be fair. Do not pull punches just because I'm your friend and you know me.
But this isn't the same thing as the other thing because this is
which is this
is a picture of some established
now if
piece
he took
of military equipment. You're not creating a new. You didn't create a new gun and say this is the BFG 8000.
Big fucking gun.
And someone says no, that's just a fucking grenade launcher that the army uses. You know what I mean? Like you're not selling it as.
What he didn't do was take a BFG 3000 and shape it into a grenade launcher.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So,
and like I said, I'm not on like some soapbox saying borrowing is wrong. I'm not. All I'm saying is give credit where it's due. If you're using someone else's work into your work, all good. Give them credit.
Right.
Yes.
So
get permission.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Simplify. An artist that takes a bunch of magazine images and chops them all up and creates a collage that creates a totally new image.
Yeah.
That person then sells that art as an original piece.
Yes.
That is
that person should have to give
purchased. That is using items that were purchased.
Yeah, he might.
And
so
magazines are slightly different than this type of thing. This This is taking people's personal images and using them. They are not distributing them for
No,
any
this guy,
purpose.
this guy's. It
They are
looks like
putting
he's
them on the
probably.
internet. They are putting them on the internet for people to look at, not to copy and use in another work.
Yes,
Paper,
but
paper, something being cut up and used in a collage is
it's considered public
different.
domain.
Right.
Just like once you post your images online.
No, copyright law. Those are my images and cannot be reproduced without my permission.
That is if you quickly jump the gun and say that's mine first.
Hang on. It says right here. Hang on, stop, pause.
Okay.
If the work was created 95 years ago, it is likely now in the public domain in the U.S.
Yes.
This does not necessarily apply worldwide.
1923. Anything produced before 1923 is in the public domain. 27.
So, yeah.
Something like that.
So, in that sense, Thomas is right. But
so
copyright.
Works are original when they're independently created by a human author and have a minimal degree of creativity. Independent creation simply means that you create it yourself without copying.
Now, we saw the image basting, right? Let's do this one.
That would be considered copying.
Hang on. Yeah, it would be considered copying.
Image. He may be distorting it, but it's still a copy of the original image.
Where is?
I think a good thing. Yeah, like I have a slightly different view, especially when it comes to photographs.
Here you go. This on the other hand,
a picture of something he did not create. The picture, he took the picture, but he didn't create what's in the image.
But it's still his picture because he took the picture.
Now this design, on the other hand, this is actually,
but the elements inside it are not technically his.
They're absolutely his because it's his camera that did it.
Right.
It is his camera. He chose when to take it and what lighting.
If you want it, you go take the damn picture and then you can use it in your thing. If you not my picture that I took.
Well, if we want to go on that technicality, this person's not breaking the law.
That is the technicality. That is why I used. That is specifically why I used the example I did earlier about the monkey taking the photo versus the human taking the photo.
Right. So
the monkey has no right.
The monkey has no copyright because there is no human involved in the creation of that photograph.
Right.
Right. So part of the terms and services of Facebook, they in the terms and services clause, they actually state that any images are considered public domain.
Yeah, but he wasn't grabbing images from Facebook.
I don't know where he was grabbing the images.
Photo,
none of us
whatever.
Do. Right, but if whatever platform those images are posted on, if he's pulling from a platform that specifically states in the terms of service that images posted here are considered public domain, which is most social media and most online vehicles. There's a gray area.
Yeah, but now we're talking. I made my statement based on, assuming the person put pictures up for people to see. They're not, they're public for viewing, but not for just you to use any way you see fit.
That depends on the. That depends.
Of course, it depends. Of course, it depends on the platform, but it doesn't change my statement.
For instance, if you're posting images on your personal email, and that guy goes in and gets, somehow gets access to the images in your email and starts pulling from those images, that could be considered your personal property.
Yeah, it could be my website. It could be
your personal property.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or your personal website.
But if he just Googled images of skyscrapers and was pulling skyscraper images, there's no telling where Google got those from. Because I can register my website on Google.
If they're on Google, terms and services of Google, those are considered public domain.
No, absolutely not. Because I can put my website on Google. It's just a search engine. Yeah, Google's just a search engine.
On Google, it actually states whether or not an image is open sourced or private.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't like he was Google Images. When he was pulling those images, he was not checking.
It's
He was just
possible,
grabbing.
but we don't know whether or not he was grabbing from a source that was
all public domain.
public
or,
domain
Right.
or
And that's another problem is we don't know.
No, it's right here.
Right,
Hang on. Hold
but-
up. Stop. Time out. Many people like to use Google for images for their projects. All artists, I'm talking to you out there, motherfuckers. Note that a majority of the images found from Google and on through the internet are copyright protected. You need to be aware that stock photos and photos by professional photographers require a license and or payment to use them.
There
Done.
you go.
Correct.
Done.
Correct. Now, unless you're pulling from a source that is public domain or open
Look,
source.
if
Know the source.
Yeah, if it's public domain, then I don't care. It's fine. The problem is that people have established that they're not checking to see one way or another. They're just using.
So public
that is
public,
true, and that's where I agree that there is
public domain refers to books, photos, and or written work that have fallen into a status where the copyright has expired. Facebook, the entire internet, Google, Yahoo are public search engines and internet pages, but they are not the public domain.
I understand that. What I'm
Okay,
saying
well,
is
I'm
that
just, I want to, this is my stream. I want to make sure that any artists that were to come back and watch through this, that they have the correct information. Especially if they are new artists.
If it is expressly,
bless you for whoever was trying to sneeze and not die.
if those platforms need to expressly or need to express that this image is or is not either public domain or open sourced. And that's where
it is not expressly listed, it is not open source.
Right. So they need to expressly list it, and those you can use. Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Like if I go over here and I say, hey, this image right here, which is the Dark Ion image, I'm not saying it is, fuckers. If I say, hey, this is an open source image, you have my permission to use it if you so deem necessary. Then yes, as long as it's put in, and it's stated in writing. It has to be stated in writing.
Right. Now
you can't just say it out loud because then someone could go back, well, you said so. I'm like, well, I was using it as a reference. I was using it as a reference.
Right. It is not written that is public.
Anyway,
so the point is that the instance of abuse a lot of times comes from a lack of understanding that unless it is explicitly stated that this is open source or this is public domain, then they start pulling images and stuff like that. Now, as far as like business owners are concerned, like for instance, me and Wookie, we decided to go with that logo because I used an open source image. And we even with the open source image, we still altered it. You know what I'm saying? The basic design is still there, but we still altered it for our own logo. Just because I don't want to get caught, someone come along later on and saying, "Oh, hey, you pulled this image off of our website." Okay. Whether we pulled it off or not, we altered it to suit our needs and to be a unique image. You know what I'm saying? Even though I made sure that when I went through and I found the images that I went through open source, so on and so forth.
All right, let's go ahead.
Where the line gets drawn is when artists don't do their homework and don't pay attention to what they're doing, and they just start gathering from everywhere, and there's a way to regulate specifically AI generated stuff by only allowing AI to source from open source or from public domain to generate their artwork and generate their images.
So let's go ahead and get to closing. Let me close this out.
The regulation is doable. I think it is possible to do that. I think that does it need to be done? Absolutely. Is it doable? Absolutely. Is it currently the status quo? Probably not.
Right. So to my fellow watchers that might be out there, even if you're an artist or not, what I will always tell you is keep in mind there's always legal repercussions. Pay mind of what you're doing, do your research. To
Stop
recap
stealing.
on stop
Don't forget the
stealing,
homework.
don't forget the homework. Always research. I will always tell, even as a Full Sail University student, our teachers always say, do your homework, do your references. It is okay to use reference pieces as an artist. That helps you grow in the mind of knowing what you are drawing, you are creating, what you are rendering. To recap what we have talked about tonight, is AI generation here? Yes, it is. Is it going away? No, it is not. Will it be replacing you as an artist? I probably
It's not.
within full belief say no. There will always be a need for us artists. We are far and few in between, and our styles are always sought for. Even if you think that your art is not good enough, someone out there is going to see your art as a value. So keep striving to be better as an artist. If you want to tinker with AI art, do it. Give it a go. But remember that your art, your AI art, can yield from another artist. What I would request that of you as a fellow artist in my space is to not put in a public area that you have created that piece. Express that you used AI as a tool set to maybe help garner something that you may not be good at. Maybe you're not good at rendering. Maybe you're not good at modeling. Maybe you're not good at light design or perspective, so on and so forth. Maybe you're not good at animation. But at least be truthful and honest to yourself first as an artist in a larger community that as a whole will stand together when we do not agree with something. And that goes for all walks of life in art. That is both gaming, that's music, that's movies and design, so on and so forth. Thank you guys for all being here. Boo, Fluffy, Ruler, Theisman. Thank you guys for all coming together. Thank you guys for all being here and putting your creative aspects and mindset into this and coming into this into a space that I think was really cool, seeing how all of us, even at times where we did not agree, we came to a compromise of understanding that fully encompasses that AIR is here. Now, I would like, in my retrospect, to see it be used more as a tool set to uplift artists' undertakings, I think is what I could use. But still, do your research and attempt to at least try. Thank you. This has been Wookie. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to call this the end of for the stream. And if you liked it, hit that notification bell and hit the follow.
Have a
All
good
right.
night, everyone.